Welcome to another episode of the Strange Motion Way podcast. I'm your host, Tim Strange, along with
Carrie Strange.
Tonight, we are just recording off the camera, or not the camera, off the computer, because we are remote. We left the house.
We did.
For this.
No cats tonight.
Yeah, no cats.
No.
As you can see, we have guests with us. We have Murpho and Collette. Murpho is in the West Coast Customs Hall of Fame. Used to run a couple magazines, used to be in Texas. Now, not far from us here in Tennessee. So we're going to get a little bit of their backstory today. And welcome to Tennessee.
Thanks for having us. Yeah. It's good to be here. Thanks for braving East Nashville.
Yes.
Come and visit us.
We don't come to the big city often.
Yeah. Like we'll go not far from here, like to a concert or a hockey game, and then Supercross when they have it here, and then maybe grab dinner in the house.
One of the reasons we moved here was because there's Supercross in Nashville.
But they're not having it.
They don't come every year.
It's every other year or something, yeah.
But it's not far to Birmingham. We went to Birmingham the last 2 years.
There you go. We went to Indy.
Indy?
Yep.
Yeah.
We go someplace for Supercross every year.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
We do.
We're big fans.
Yeah.
Cool.
We're into it.
Yeah, but we were in the hood. No.
Yeah.
In the hood.
Kind of in a little, but it's up and coming. It's up and coming.
Everything's up and coming in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. We've been down here for 14 years now, and the amount of housing additions and even growing out is crazy.
Well, they call it Nash Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
I hear.
They do.
Maybe.
Supposedly the bachelorette capital of the
The
country.
Woo Girls.
The
that's
Woo
what I call
Girls,
them.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
It never stops.
Yeah.
Never stops.
Cowboy boots and sundress.
But every concert people, the tours always come through here.
Uh-huh.
So even punk rock, hardcore, now they build a couple other venues. So
Music City, baby.
yeah, it's
We're
not.
going to go
It's
see
not
Willie
just.
Nelson tomorrow night.
Yeah, we've seen
Nice.
Willie before. There's a rock quarry place down by us, and we were looking at it. It's like an outlaw festival. Bob Dylan's there. I was like, oh, I want to see Dylan. Yeah,
Yeah.
We're going tomorrow night,
Cool.
and it's like 25 minutes from the house. So
Perfect. Then you just turn around and get back home.
So, okay, you guys are based, what I would say, like I do, but I don't get that many custom lead sleds.
Yes.
So before we get into all that, let's get little Collette and little Murpho growing up. How did you get into customs? Who inspired you as a kid?
Oh, man, so it was just a progression. I'll tell you how that goes. In high school, I was into all things like hands-on, metal shop, wood shop, auto shop, welding, and was always into bikes, BMX bikes, that kind of quickly gravitated me into moto.
Okay, hold on. What kind of BMX bikes did you have? I still have all my Pattersons from a kid that I still collect Pattersons.
So my favorite was my Cook Brothers.
Ooh, yeah.
And I had a 20-inch and I had the 24-inch.
Were you a rich kid? Cook Brothers were a high-end bike. That was the high-end bike before Hutch was the high-end bike.
I wheeled my way into that bike.
Yeah.
And made some trades in the neighborhood, and I fixed kids' bikes. And so my bike game got good. It came up. But I was fixing bikes, like wrenching on these bikes, and skateboarded, snowboarded, tried to surf, really tried to surf.
Where'd you grow up at?
In California.
Okay.
Southern California, but all over. I lived, we moved a lot for some reason. I moved from California to Texas. I lived in the city of Orange, and my neighbor was 2 blocks over was Jimmy Shine, and I was down the street from Circle City. And
that's a really cool town. I did that one year. We drove a truck out, the panel truck that we built, got invited. New owner has it. We drove it out to be in the truck display at a roaster show.
Yeah.
And as a Midwest farm kid, not only how rad it is to go out to California, to Southern California, I don't want to live there, but driving one of my vehicles that I built with my buddy, and we shop hopped for 2 days before we had to park it in the show. We went to Jimmy Shine's. I mean, that town of Orange, and Orange has a huge BMX history too, but every 2 blocks, there's another really good shop. It's pretty cool.
It's a really sleepy hot rod town.
And Orange, did you know, the downtown area was filmed, that movie, the Tom Hanks movie, That Thing You Do, about the Wonders, was filmed in downtown Orange.
It also got filmed for Back to the Future in a little
You should have known
downtown.
that.
I should have known that
Back
Back
to
to the
the
Future
Yeah.
too.
So in Orange, also like after Boyd's, all the kids from Boyd's had shops in Orange. Yep. Thomas Lodby was a huge influence on me. The Swedish guy from that wouldn't poop at work.
There's a lot of people like that.
We have some people like that.
It's a
So-
common thing.
So Thomas was my buddy, and I'm sorry I'm all over the place in my answer here, but he was probably one of the strongest influences on me. He was strict, and he was helping me learn stuff, and I would help him in his shop. So I got to really, really call him out for everything that he did for me coming up. And another guy named Doug Starbuck, Starside Design from Riverside, California, taught me to do auto body and paint. Actually taught me how to do auto body on the phone, which was a quest. So those guys, but I was like in this path of doing mechanical and industrial things. And so in high school, my job was at the Union 76, the 5-star full service gas station nights. Had like the bump thing with the bell, ding, 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 and you go and you got to do the windshield and check the oil and the air pressure and like do all this service stuff.
So like what type of year was it? How old are you now?
57.
Okay, you're a little older than me.
Yeah. 57. High school was in the 80s. So, 84, 5, 6 in those years was like working at the gas station, and it was all muscle cars, like where I was at like all the time. And I was like, man, I got to get a car. So my first car was 67 Camaro, 15, and started working on that thing. In those days, man, you could pick up a cool car for hundreds.
No, yeah.
So that was, as a kid, it was still like you could get in, like you could get into a cool car.
I think that's what hurts kids nowadays. I mean, of course, a lot of the kids now, they don't want a Camaro or a 32 or a 55 unless their dad or uncle, grandpa was.
And that's usually
Like,
the stories you hear.
Yeah, we got a kid. He's a photographer. They're car people. But Eliza's 16. He's got a Honda Civic Daily with a fart pipe on it. New pipe. He sent me a video. Yeah, it sounds like a fart in the bathtub, he said. But like his hot rod that they're building, him and his dad, is like a 93 Ford Mercedes wagon. They're going to wide body it, and it's already got a V8 in it. It's got a nice motor in it, but that's his hot rod.
Yeah.
Like one of our BMX girls that we've sponsored all this time, she's 21. So when we talk about movies and music, she goes, "You telling me stories about the 1900s?" Because she was born in the 2000s. So it hurts my heart, but it's true. So
Camaro was like this thing, but I quickly veered away. And there was this really cool trend that came along in the 80s called mini trucks. And I just deep dived into mini truck land. And it was so cool because there was no parts and you just had to figure it out and build everything.
When I started getting my guys helping me like part-time at my shop, I never really had full-time employees. When I met the mini truckers out of Peoria and a couple out of Galesburg, they were excellent to have help. You get an old guy that did restorations. It was like, oh, we're going to cut that front frame off and put a Mustang too. Oh, no. Then mini truckers. Where is the cutter? I am cutting this stuff off. But before we started recording, we were talking about events in the area. So Talladega, Battle in Bama, I do MC stuff down there.
Yeah.
You got to go to that. Like, it's all hot rod. It's hot rods too, but it's mostly trucks and OBSs, and the mini trucks come, like old ones and fresh ones. There's some awesome mini trucks at that show. So there's where I get this get bugged to fabricate. That's kind of just where it all was. So from whatever age that is, I'm just like down this path of working on stuff. And I did other stuff along the way, but I've always been working on cars for people. Since you're in Southern California, did you ever get into the Volkswagen stuff? Because mini truckers and V-dubs were kind of together. I mean, they weren't in the Midwest because there just wasn't a lot of Volkswagens.
I had a 68 Bug, and I did that. And I just, it wasn't really, I mean, it was cool and I drove it, it was like I drive it around and everything, but it really wasn't my my thing, it wasn't my calling. And then I was really into full size Chevy trucks for 10 years or so. And I just worked on these trucks and lowering them and everything.
Like square bodies and OBSs. And they were hot then.
Yeah.
I'm doing an OBS now. So
was that. And then somebody died in the family, and I ended up with a '65 Chrysler Imperial, and it was just this old boat, And then like it didn't go fast and it didn't do much, but it drove and it was cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like going someplace in Laguna Beach in that thing, and I just saw this like Mercury on the side of the road there that was like laid out, and I was like almost crashed. I'm like, well, that thing, it just boom,
change your life, and
that was it. That was it. And from there, it was like just that, just like lead sleds and custom, and I had to build one, I had to have one, and it was just like a disease, really.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like however many decades ago now. I already gave my age away, but like it's been a while. Like it's just really been a custom disease lifestyle. So
okay, Collette, how did you grow up, and how did you get like?
Well, I definitely didn't have a cool story like him, but I grew up originally in Nashville, so I'm coming back to making a full circle back.
It's changed a lot, right?
Since I was 5, and I still don't know where things are, and that's okay. We're learning. I had a previous relationship and got involved and really liked it, and I then got a car, got a '54 Kaiser, and.
So, what was your first car in high school? What did you
high school, I had a Dodge Avenger.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Was it just
It
plain
was a point A, get
basic
to
transportation?
school, get to work, and get home, because that thing was probably going to fall apart at any moment. Yeah, but it lasted, and it lasted for a while. So that was my first car.
And what kind of student were you?
That's always one of Carrie's favorite
My
questions.
favorite.
I tried really hard to stay focused, but
What wasn't there?
I think I was like, I tried. Big trier.
And were you in any activities?
I did sports. I did some sports. I did dance, competitive dancing. But yeah, just this big try in high school.
No cheerleading?
No, I wasn't a big cheerleader.
Carrie was a cheerleader, not dance. So
No, I did dance.
A snotty cheerleader.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like-
No, not. It was more redneck snotty.
Oh.
Yeah.
The glare.
Yeah.
You know, the
It's just the look.
Yeah, the look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me.
Yeah.
I'm a cheerleader.
What kind of student were you?
So I graduated.
Yeah. I guess that was important.
I went to 3 high schools. I was asked politely to leave 2. I was convinced,
I mean,
and
the statute of limitations are up by now. Do we want to say why you were asked?
I'll tell you. I cut school
You
almost
can
every
say
day.
allegedly too. So
Yeah.
that
Allegedly,
holds up
I
in
was
court.
truant. I was a pretty good kid, but I was hooked on racing, and I would leave school to go practice. My parents, I was like latchkey, motocross,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and so
It's like we know now, since BMX is in the Olympics, a lot of kids that travel the nationals, they're homeschooled now because they miss so much school.
right. I probably
Practice,
I was
practice.
bent like I was going to be a national champion, like I was going to be a star or whatever. But like that was my thing, was leaving. I think that if they appreciated all that, like I did, I probably would have been homeschooled, would be great. Yeah.
So when you didn't make it as a pro racer?
No.
Did you ride? It was like we've known friends. Heath Pinter lived in Riverside. It's like, oh, that's that guy, and that's that guy down the block. It's like that Southern California thing. Did you train or ride with anybody that didn't make it?
I raced local pro stuff.
Oh, okay.
I made it to pro, but not like national level, And I was right on the verge of getting good sponsors, and then something.
Any racing, anything is expensive.
So what happened is that the real sponsor, Dad, got sick, and that really changed everything in life, But I was off at the track, doing my thing, and so I made it through high school. Barely. Yeah. But then I went back to school later in life, and
you excelled. You went to college. I was high school.
Where'd you go to college for?
I have a degree in economics.
Oh. But yet you're still build customs.
I can't not do cars.
Yeah.
I've tried. I've really tried hard to not be a car guy, and it's an
addiction
Yeah.
of a different
It's a
addiction.
real-
It totally is.
love.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just who I am. It's what I do, and I don't know what else now.
So how many years did you go to college?
All of them.
How many years did you take?
3.5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you go to any college?
No college.
I went to
High school.
auto body trade school, like drove an hour from home into Iowa, and that's what I did. She did.
I didn't know.
So I did a lot of that while I was going to school. I was taking welding classes. I just could not do stuff, and working on cars.
We have friends that like their parents like saved money for them for college.
I didn't have that.
That was not a
Yeah.
thought process
You
of
were
me
gonna
and
go
most
to
of my
college.
buddies, small town
You were
farmers.
gonna
It's
work.
like,
No.
you better get a scholarship, which I wasn't smart enough for that. I did. Once I was there, I got a scholarship. They picked 2 every semester for like the local new car dealerships, and I got one of those. So that helped
Sweet.
me.
Yeah.
But it was also like, I remember it was like $1,780 a semester.
Wow.
But you had to buy like $3,000 worth of tools.
Mm-hmm.
And because you had to have, it was like $6,000. You
Yeah,
got a big deal from like 51% from Snap-on. It was so good that people would come for the first semester, get the tools, and then quit. But I still have some of them
Oh, it's
tools.
like almost makeup
Nice.
ladies.
Yeah.
Sell the makeup.
Yeah.
We'll get the makeup first.
I got student of the month once in high school.
Nice.
That count?
Yeah, that's an achievement.
It was a small school. There was nobody else to give it to.
Yeah.
That's what we were saying.
I don't know how that happened.
How many kids in your graduating class?
Oh, so where I graduated, there's maybe 200,
That's good.
180 kids, maybe.
We had like 30.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we went to different schools.
Yeah, but I was still student of the month.
Yeah,
But like I wasn't. But I was
All you 30.
homecoming attendant my junior year. So
You were?
I was.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
We were like 4 years apart. We went to different schools, but they were like sports rivals and stuff like that. But like my school was
Did you
170
guys
kids.
connect in school? Like, did you ever
We-
cross paths?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, but she said we wouldn't have dated.
That's why I'm
But, you know, small
confused why you
towns,
were an
like,
attendant, 'cause you
I was
were,
friends with her other boyfriends.
What's
there was
an
many
attendant?
of them, as I say.
like, didn't quite get king.
Oh, in the court.
He was a runner-up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, junior year, there was like 2 of us,
Yeah.
and it's like I wasn't up.
Those are like those
Were you in-
awards you get for just
But I think it was like, hey, let's get the punk rock kid with the
Were you-
mohawk in. That's what it was like. That'd be funny in front of our parents. That's how I think I got.
Did
in
you
that.
do sports?
I did in junior high. Then I was all BMX, and I worked at the body shop down the road that did vets and stuff. So
Yeah.
I did. My sister was a school jock and
She was
held
a nerd.
scoring records for quite a long time. And
She's
you
still
know, why aren't you more like your sister? That's what I am.
Oh.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Because I remember I got pulled into the principal. Hey, we're a little worried about you.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Well, you got a mohawk. We need to tell your parents. They go, okay, my dad cuts my hair. And we don't like who you're coming to school with. That's my neighbor. We live at the edge of school district. The bus doesn't go that far, so I have to ride with him. And he wasn't a troublemaker, but back then, like now, he would be like, he's just a normal dude. But yeah, it's like, okay. But like, I grew up like farm, like my dad, if he needed help picking and putting the crops in, he would call in, Tim's sick, or just say, hey, we need him on the farm today. And I would get out of school to help on the farm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But you were just too edgy.
For a Midwest.
Yeah.
I didn't drink beer in high school. I didn't play football. I was a BMX kid, drove a Chevelle, worked at the body shop, and had a mohawk.
Asking for it.
Yeah.
I think it was red, wasn't it?
It was red and blue, and yeah. It was,
That was what put it
He was
over
a
the
rebel.
edge.
but when I was 16, I was state champion on my BMX. So,
Nice.
and nobody at school except like 3 of my close friends knew about it until it was in the paper. They were like,
Oh my God, dude.
you're a state champion. Yeah. Travel on the weekends. I just go to state buddies' houses and race. So
You're so dreamy.
I love women with low standards. This is what this is.
Okay, getting back to them.
Okay.
This is not about us.
It is about-
Oh, we are being recorded here. So.
Yeah. Well, we're
Okay,
going
so
to.
yeah, we were talking about high school. Okay, so back to you. So your first car.
First of
talk
all,
about that.
involved, went to just, you get hooked and then you find this passion and then you start doing something and then you keep elevating that.
Because this time now, when you went to high school, were you in Chicago then?
Yes.
Okay.
And then out of high school, just worked. I was in the mortgage industry for the longest time.
Oh, okay.
And that was
But
just
like
so fun.
growing up, like in Chicago, there's car stuff everywhere.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Chicago's a big.
Yes.
It's not as big as LA, but it's bigger than Nashville.
Cruise nights,
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. in Chicago.
shows. But yeah, once I don't know, once you get hooked on it.
We used to go
in
not
Illinois.
Naperville.
Yeah, Naperville had a cruise night.
It was like on a Wednesday night.
Elmhurst?
So
Elmhurst.
Okay, so
Elmhurst.
like Lombard had it on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just weekends. It was like throughout the whole week.
We'd go like once a year up there, usually on the way to sell a car at the cruise auction. We'd stop on the way there, and we had a street rod there and something else, and we did that 2 or 3 times. And it was like on a Wednesday night, and there was like 1,500
and
cars.
you cruised though. You
Yeah.
cruised there, you hung out, until it got dark, and then they all left. Everybody left. You had dinner.
So, were you doing any? Because you've done like pinup stuff before. So,
Yeah.
were you
I
doing
did
like
a lot of
pinup stuff and like attracted to that scene of the car people and doing
Well,
that?
it's
or-
mostly tattoo stuff. Like
Okay.
I was in tattoo magazines, and then got into the car world from other things, and then I got hooked in it, and I wanted to be a part of it all the time.
Yeah.
And it was a spark, just building my own car and saying I was going to do it.
Yeah.
And maybe not knowing fully how I was going to do that, and just started, and I just kept going.
So my thing was, and we said this to that guy for that radio thing. It's like my thing was like I worked on my car in my dad's machine shed, and his buddies would come through on the farm. How does he know how to do that? And he goes, he don't. He's just not smart enough to know he's not supposed to. I don't know if it was really a compliment, but like just kind of don't be scared to do it was kind of the point. So
Well, that was the cool thing.
you cut it off and start over.
If you can do it again,
Yeah.
So that worked for me, and I just kept elevating it, and wanting to get better, So everything I did was crude. I was like, oh man, I thought it was
That was my goal. The next
And
car,
now
just
I'm
make
like,
it better.
yeah.
Right.
Still, 31 years later, just make it better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then after motocross and college, what were you doing? Did you have a job while you were going to college?
Well, I worked on cars, at home and did that. I bartended. I started bartending when motocross was done, and put myself through school. And then,
Is your favorite movie Cocktail?
no,
That's a good movie.
no.
It's cheesy, but I'll still watch it when it comes on. I still will watch Cocktail.
It's good.
No. I did pretty good though, bartending, back in the day. I was at one of the very first PF Chang's
Oh,
at the Irvine Spectrum out
Still
there.
use
And
the bartender sometimes. So you want to get cool drink?
I can make a drink.
Sure.
Yeah. So that was fun, and it helped me get through school. And I just kind of went down these different paths, and cars were just kind of
the always thing that you go back to.
the back to thing. Yeah.
So did you work at any hot rod shops or custom shops when you were in California?
No, I've never worked for anyone. I've just kind of done my thing.
I've never worked for a hot rod shop. I've worked for body shops.
Sure, yeah. And I worked at
when I was really young.
I've had jobs, right? But I mean, in terms of cars, I've never worked for somebody. I felt like I worked for Thomas, for a minute. Like he really was like.
Was that the Thomas that was on
Boyd's?
the TV show?
Yeah, from Boyd's, yeah.
I've met a lot of those guys, and kind of friends with Mikey Curtis and stuff. But
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever met Thomas.
He was 2 doors down from Mike's first wheel shop in Orange there. So like I would be working in my shop, and Thomas would come by every day at like 3 o'clock afternoon at coffee time. He'd have coffee in the afternoon. He'd come into my shop and like come in and like kick around and be like, "What are you doing?" And straight up would just be like, "This is bullshit. This isn't how we do this. This is not good." Like
You're
I'm
better
telling you,
than
you
this,
can't.
man.
Yeah, you can't grind like that. I told you to grind flat. Like, don't use it if you're not going to do it right. Be at my shop at 5:30 and like out the door. And this was like a daily kind of a thing. He was just like,
But you obviously seen a spark and a dedication.
yeah, he really and like I can't emphasize enough how much I feel like I got from our relationship. Like
I had a couple that, like when I was going to college, I drove an hour away. There was a couple small drag race shops and little hot rod shops. They did stuff for like John Deere and stuff like that too, but they never really kicked me out. I'd go and bother them and see what they're doing and build a chassis in the corner while they're doing John Deere stuff, or their hobby. And it's like, man, I just learned a lot of stuff by asking a lot of questions,
That's
so
neat.
So yeah, I was kind of similar. Like wherever I was in car scene, I would just like ask people, "How did you do that? What did you do?" And I would pay attention. I was like I wanted to build like ground up and build my own car from scratch and do everything. Like that's what I wanted to do. And then after I did it, I wanted to do it again. And And I got
Then you want to find a customer that they can
that's
pay you
what
to
happened.
do that. Yeah.
I got sidetracked with looking for people, and so I've spent my whole time basically just building cars for people, working on cars for people. One day I'll build another one. I mean, I've got projects, but it's hard to get your own stuff done. Right?
Yeah.
So most everything that I have done is for customers, and it's out there in the world doing its thing.
You ever started one and then you found that's in a happy world for a builder. Oh, I've got this vision, and a customer's like, I want that car, and I'll pay you to continue that vision. That happens very rarely.
Yeah.
But
I haven't had it exactly happen like that, but I've had a couple of really good experiences where they've come and just been like, I want you to do your art, like I want you to do it your way, like you were building it for yourself.
I never get that. Remember Gary Choppett, Fiodo?
Yeah.
I miss that guy. He was super awesome. I messaged his son the other day. He posted something about missing his dad. It's been a lot longer than I remember.
But he's still keeping it going, and that's awesome.
But like Choppett was his nickname. You hire me to build your car. You're hiring me as the artist.
Right.
You don't get to pick the color. Like remember that like heavily chopped Merc that was in all the magazines, early 2000s or something. That guy says, "Do your Merc. I want it hardtop. You're the artist. I hate green." The car was green. He says, I just couldn't get green out of my head, and the guy paid for it, and it won lots of custom
That's
awards.
like the best thing for builder. You want it to be
also
if somebody gives you that.
It sets you in like the best vibe for the car. You're
happy to go to work.
Yeah. You just like it's just.
But it's also too nice when you get to like kind of sway. Like, well, what do you think about this? And they kind of gravitate like, oh, okay. Sometimes they can't picture it.
We say that a lot on this podcast that when we're talking to builders, and it's like the clients need to. There's a reason that they picked whoever.
Right.
I mean, yeah. Sometimes you get people from down the street or something, but usually in this hot rod and custom world, it's like. I know a guy in New York that most of his cars come from Beverly Hills. And I know this guy, and like most of my cars are from Texas right now. It's weird because they want you to do that. Most of these people, it's not because, this guy was $10 an hour cheaper. It's like, I like what this guy does.
This style, if you want that style.
The custom.
More so in the custom.
Because you give you a 51 Merc, you give me a 51 Merc.
Two different cars.
Two different cars. They're both going to be bitching, but they're going to be different.
Then
totally.
You'll probably have different styles of doing it. Hopefully the end game is going to be the same, but like that's the cool part. You guys are all different, but you can learn something.
Like I post a little build process on a transmission tunnel today on my Instagram. It's like, I'm not saying this is the perfect way to do it. This is just how I do it, and it works for me. Some of you might be like, no, that's stupid. You don't need to do that.
Like, oh, okay, I'm going to try that and change a whole style of doing something.
And I've traveled a lot through the years and helping buddies, get ready for the Amber, the Riddler or something. And I like going to do that every once in a while for a week or two, get me out of my shop if I'm not on a deadline. And then because you can always learn something. Oh, look at this block. He's using the block saying this. Or, I like how he welded that. Or look at the bracket that you can always, everybody does it different. It's cool to bounce ideas off each other.
So I was trying to think about how, like, when you think you have it all figured out and everything, you've like just ended, like that's the end of you, like I guess the kiss of death.
That's my dad was a Harley guy. And he goes, once you think you're the best motorcycle rider, you need to get off of that bike.
Yeah.
You've probably seen that motocross. And it's like when you're cocky and say, I can't do anything wrong, that's when stuff hits the fan. Yeah.
So I always feel like I can learn something from listening to you or from whoever, anyone. Like I can learn something from, you just have to be good at like respecting that there's more than one path to the same place and that everybody has something to offer.
For sure.
You can learn something from everyone.
And I might have been at somebody's shop before, and they're like, you're going to do it this way. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll do that one. When I get back to my shop, I'm doing that.
Right.
It just doesn't work for me.
So you're saying, like, when you go to Zane's, you have to do it Zane's
way.
way,
Yeah.
but when you come back home, you do it
But
Zane's
I've also learned a lot at Zane's place. So there's a reason some of his ex-employees, his name is Hitler in their cell phone.
I don't do it that way. But I learned that way. That's not what I'm going to do.
right?
Yes, employees. Yeah.
Okay, so you're swaying towards customs.
Customs, hot rods.
When did the jump start? Hey, I'm going to do this full time. How many years you been in business now?
From about 2000, I was doing like day job and and having customers all the time from about 2000. So 25 years, I guess, of.
That was 2025 years ago. I know it's 2025, but it hurts my head.
Old.
It hurts my head a little bit, right?
So
I think 30 years ago was 1970.
Yeah, so weird because the year before that was 1999. It seems like it was like so long ago, but 2000 doesn't seem like it should be that far ago, right?
Yeah. I remember as like a little kid, I always drew art, drawing cars.
Yeah.
And I remember drawing like in first grade, and they're like, draw what a car is going to be in the year 2000. Once, this is 1970. Probably I don't get rid of anything.
He doesn't get rid of
Like I have notebooks of my logos that I drew my shop name in 7th grade. Like I knew what my shop name was going to be someday. I got sidetracked though. But yeah, I drew a car. I do that with too many paint fumes. I was like, oh, I drew like a Jetsons car because like there's surely flying cars by the year 2000. Where this was 1977.
Yeah,
it's like flying cars, but no, we don't have flying cars.
Yeah, man. Like I didn't really honestly think that I would. All of like 2025 was like a thing that was going to happen
right.
at all. Like there was no part of me that ever thought like I'd be sitting here in 2025 like doing whatever. It was just it's too far out there,
Because then you're working and you're like, oh, we got to hit this deadline and the next car and the next deadline. Then all of a sudden, here it is 25 years later. So when you started, what was the car that you built that was like, oh, I can do this and I'm going to open my shop full time? What was that? There was always one like ours was our purple 54 that we still owned. We got it in a magazine. 3 months later, we started doing it.
So not of customer cars, but of my stuff is the Chevrolet that's out here that I finished in 2001 or 2002 and have kept ever since. It's got, I wish I knew how many miles were on it really, but it's been a lot of places. That one was in the KKOA museum for a year after we did the 777 thing. But that one really, for me, was the one that was like my baby, and just.
And it's cool you still have it like us with our 54.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever.
Yeah, I have had
It's
to.
gonna be an upgrade.
Yeah, I've had to start redoing because it started to fall apart. All the little things I didn't do and I should have done.
When you look back at stuff like I started this 54 building a tube chassis when I was 19, 20 years old. And I built a cross member, all that because I couldn't afford a cross member. It's got a full tube chassis. It was half Pro Street, half custom at that time. And like that's part of the reason. I mean, there was a time we tried to sell it, which I'm glad it didn't sell.
Yeah.
In probably late 90s, we tried selling it. And we just kind of had a room to keep stuff. But it was like, oh man, if I'm going to sell this, I've learned a lot, like how to mount the power windows. And it's like, oh man, that's embarrassing. It's like I'd have to redo half the car to like, I mean, we redid it in the early 2000s and rewired it and did all that stuff. But I was like, I didn't remount this. And I was like, I put a different suspension underneath. Like, there's some stuff if I want it out in the public, like somebody might tear that door panel off someday. It's like, oh yeah, I need to change that.
Right. That's how I kind of feel. Is like I look at the stuff we build now, and I look at that, and I'm sort of like, oh, I'd like kind of redo this thing, because it's not going anywhere, right? Yeah. So, and it's gonna get scrutinized at some point. So it's like gotta work on that. But it's getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'd like to change the color of mine and maybe rebuild the motor or fuel injection on it.
Change the color.
I mean, it's still always going to be purple.
Yeah.
It's been painted twice, but it's a purple.
Remember that time Carrie punched him on the podcast?
But
we were there.
but I got too many other. As my buddy Zane says, we're in the third quarter of our life, and I've got like dry erase sport. I have these cars I want to build.
Right.
My OBS. I've got a weird concept car. I have my 40 Merc. Now, I would love it if a customer comes up, jumps up, says, hey, let's build your idea, that 40 Merc. That's not going to happen.
You never know.
You never know.
You don't know.
But, yeah.
You never know.
That's
somebody's going to watch this.
I had a Ford Woody wagon. I sold it because it wasn't on my list. It wasn't. I was like, okay, that needs to go.
But that's good. That means you can, moving on to the next. Yeah.
So it's hard to remember all this stuff back. So now you're running your shop. What was you remember what your first customer car was? It's hard.
Well, so I've worked with, here's the thing, like I've worked on stuff for people my whole life.
Yeah.
For money, so
they were customers, but I'm thinking like, here we are, we got as they say, hung the shingle on the door.
Yeah, Last Call Customs, like A 50. Okay,
Is that what the shop was called back then?
Yeah, last call customs. So it was a shoebox. Oddly enough, I never particularly started out thinking that I liked shoeboxes. Like I always wanted the Chevrolet, right? Mm-hmm. But all of a sudden, this Ford's in my life, and I had no idea what was to come because I have worked on a lot of shoeboxes. I've built several start to finish, and I've worked on a ton of them, probably more than any other car for sure. Shoeboxes. And so there was this shoebox, and it was like the one that was.
So if there's any kids at home listening, that's like 49 to 51 Ford.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kind of 52 still kind of look like that?
No. Crestline or whatever.
Yeah. 52 changed.
Yeah. We did do a 52 at the starboard. That was a cool one.
Great.
Hard to do. It's a hard roof.
53. We're going to do it at Shindig.
But these shoeboxes have like just become like a thing in my world for some reason. A lot of them.
And he gravitates, like even at shows.
Yeah.
Around, he's always like, there's a shoebox. There he goes. I'm like, that's so weird.
Yeah, I guess but I always didn't ever think I could like afford to have a Mercury.
They're kind of like the little,
it's like the little Merc, and
they're still a little more affordable.
Right. So that's kind of was maybe the thing, was that it was like not like it was an affordable Mercury. Let's just say that.
That's why I started with a 54 Chevy out for $150. I couldn't, I was a Chevy guy, but I wanted a custom. Then I was like, oh, these are kind of cool.
My Chevrolet came off of a farm in Utah. It sat in the dirt for 25 years. I bought it, I think, for $700. And it was used to run barbed wire fence line on this property, and then it died. So that was the first.
They just left it there?
Yeah. That was sounds like a farmer first car I ever started working on with a shovel.
To dig it out of its hole.
To dig it in and out of the trunk.
Gotta get it out.
And these like the little rusty U-shaped staples for the barbed wire. Mm-hmm. There was like 1,000 of them in every part of this thing. Yeah.
I grew up on a farm. I know exactly what you're talking about. We had a fence vehicle. Yeah.
It was a job.
Yeah.
So it has a new life. It's had a very good second life, and it's on its way to getting kind of.
I think every car has a personality. Yeah. Some are evil, some are good. But it was like a Disney cartoon, like this kid, or maybe it was Goofy or something, fixes his car, and the car smiles because it was sitting in the yard sad, and you saved its life.
Yeah, I feel like that, like Hot Rod Heaven, it's where the old cars go to die and like come back to life, I guess. But funny you say that. I feel that cars they take on like a soul, they take on like a whole.
And I think customs more so than any other car.
For sure.
I really do.
I agree with that.
Compared to a muscle car, or the street rod has a little more soul to me than a muscle car. I say that because muscle cars are where the money is right now, but a custom has a soul to it.
Mm-hmm. I used to ask everybody that built cars, like, when you start building the car, do you see it like completely done before you start? Like, do you see exactly like what, the vision is and what it's going to be and the color and this and that? And some guys are like, I know every bolt. I would just obsess on it at night and know every like fastener and everything that's going to be in there. And like before I start, and I'm like, man, like I can't do that. Like I gotta I don't want to say this.
See, I see that. We did we're getting ready, the people at home, to both, I think we're going to do it the same day for the local Nashville NPR radio. And we did a pre-interview today. And Carrie said that. It's like, Tim has that vision that I can look at a car in a junkyard and it's like, oh, that roof would look good on that car.
Right.
And I can see it. Oh, it's candy red or it's blue with these stripes. Sometimes it changes through, but I have that imagination in my head.
Like I have to start working on the car. Like I have to be with that car, and I have to like do stuff and whatever it is. Like I'm gonna chop it. I can see the roof line. I can like that's fine. I can know what.
And as a custom guy, how much you worked on untold shoeboxes? There was not two chops that were exactly the same.
Never.
Because it's like, oh, I want this way, or oh, I learned
they're all different.
This cut looks better than
yeah. And they like you go for stuff too, like sometimes like I would probably do like a really classic like gentleman kind of looking roof line, that like dad would drive or something. And sometimes you want to be like a little more aggressive and you pull the thing down all the way with a ratchet strap till it buckles and then you let it off just one thing and then you go for it.
Yeah.
So it's like these cars will start to literally like talk to me, and they'll start to tell you like what they want to be, what to do, which is the oddest thing. So I don't get hung up on like, I don't know.
It's hard to have that relationship with your customer that they can trust you to do. We're going to do a street rod, or we're going to muscle car. We're going to have a rendering done, and it's like the wheels are going to be designed in the stance, and it's like 9 times out of 10 it better look like that. But because those customers are really because the customer, they're writing the check, so you got to make them happy. But some of them guys, I have worked for customers. They're like, oh yeah, I can see this.
Yeah.
I like to do this, and some don't.
We've done a few off rendering, where the people come and here's the thing, and let's build it. We've done that. I just think, for me though, like the best ones are sort of like you just go with it until they talk to you and they tell you like what color they're going to be and all this stuff. It's like they have become alive or something. I don't know.
Well, I like the customers that come in too and literally see you, the changes and like, I like this way this is going. Like that's such a special thing. We have one
it could make me kind of difficult, almost like aloof in a way though, because I can think about people being like, well, what do you think we're going to do? Like, should we do it? I don't know yet. Like, I don't know. I'm not trying to be like.
Let me get back to you next week.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Let me get back to habit, and I'll tell you later. Yeah. There's also that too.
But it seems like the cars that you want to do a certain way, the customer wants it to go a certain way. Those are the ones that they get the attitude. They become the car becomes the problem.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't.
You've had some possessed cars.
It doesn't see the vision.
Yeah.
And it's fighting.
Some very difficult ones. Yeah, I've had some impossible cars.
Some don't want to be back on the road or be at the show. No. They want to stay in the ditch.
Sometimes I feel like, like they're in the shop and they've got, 5 or 6 buddies that they're hanging out with, and it's like they don't want to leave. Like I don't want to go to this garage and be by myself and live in somebody's house. I want to be here with the gang,
For instance, like last night, Tim comes home, and sometimes he gets heat stroke in the shop. We don't have air conditioning.
Saturday.
So he comes home, and he's I think I was still in my office, and he comes walking down the hallway, and he goes, the garage door just opened on its own. What? Well, like, that doesn't happen.
They did it like a month ago when I had a possessed car in the shop. And I'm like, oh, it's following me home.
Yeah. So we both go to the garage, and sure as shit, garage door's going up and down on its own, and I'm like...
The opener is very old in the house. And then her car has a push button in her 07 Cadillac, and it's got a couple electrical gremlins. I think that it was... So I just unplugged the motor. I would have probably slept in a hotel last night if it would have still opened once I unplugged the motor. I'd be like, okay, grab the cats, we're gone.
But for the longest time, my caddy would, like, the key fob would not work. Like, no matter what we did, it would not work. You had to put it in the
backup in the console slot. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it just started working again, like a week ago. So sometimes they just get those.
She needs a new driver car. Yeah, she's about.
But they all have a mind of their own. And if we don't caress their mind and keep them happy.
But I always think, like, especially old cars, like, what if somebody loved that car and they're still with that car? People in ghosts. Just saying.
Yeah. Well, these cars, I think. Right, they have more stories to tell than we do.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
Like that
if only
car. I really felt like, I'm like, oh my gosh, it was just a weird feeling sitting in there. It just felt good though. I'm like, wow, this is great.
So that first car you built out here, was that the first car you got in a magazine, or was there something before that?
Oh, I think I worked on a 34 that made it to, I don't remember which magazine it was, but it was like a little picture at the car show, and I was so excited. Now, it wasn't my car, but I touched it, I worked on it, and it was like that little shot in the thing, and it was like, oh, I gotta have like 3 copies of that and save it forever. And
3?
I'm sure he has it.
I'd buy like 10 of anything. I still remember the feeling my dad had. He was always a Tri-5 guy. He had a tilt front end 55, and we took it to Dearborn, Michigan for the Classic Chevy Tri-5 convention. And he got 2 pictures. The first month, it was just like behind another car, you could see the tilt front end with the pinstripe flames. I was like, my dad's in the world. My dad's the coolest guy. He's still the coolest guy. But it wasn't even the whole car, but we knew that was the front end. But then he got a picture in the next issue with more coverage of that show of like the whole car. And it was just like the coolest thing ever. And it never featured. They told him if he took it down the drag strip, Mom wouldn't let him, that he would get a feature and a cover. It was a home built, tunnel ram car, tilt front end thing. And I still remember that feeling. And I was like, as a young kid, I was like, I just want to be in a magazine.
That's the juice, yeah.
It wasn't, hey, I want to win best of show or best pen. I was like, I just want to be in a magazine. But I knew I had to be good enough to be in a magazine.
Yeah, I literally had it didn't even occur to me like to get a trophy at a car. I didn't, you know what I mean? It was like, I wanted to be in a magazine.
Yeah. I mean, we go to all the local shows, building our name up before you start going to regional and nationals, just trying to get the work for the shop. You go this, then you go bigger. It's like, that'll pick that up.
Yeah. No,
but like motocross racing, you do your locals. And then you go to the regionals, and then you hit a couple national. It's just saying, it's whatever.
You
just keep growing.
Yeah,
right.
So that Chevrolet was the first car that was on a cover of mine.
Nice.
And Deadbeat magazine. If you remember Deadbeat, I had 3 covers thanks to my buddy Shannon Brook. And that was the thing, man. Like being on the cover with a car. Sure. That was like I was flying high. I was like, I've made it.
And my 54 was the same way. It made a cover before it got a feature. Then a couple months later, it was on a feature. It was covered first. I was still at the Chevy dealership, and that one of the transmission mechanics, he got his at lunch, and he goes, "Isn't this your car?" Oh, working at a dealership, they all think you're out of your mind. You're going to build hot rods, and it's like, oh my God, I still remember that guy. I don't remember his name, but I remember what stall he was at in Galesburg, Illinois. And I was like, I left early that day and went to the magazine store and had to wait 3 days for it to be at the stands because I didn't subscribe to Popular Hot Rodding, I guess, at that time. But maybe I did. But I still remember that. I mean,
magazines were like everything. Like magazines are how I learned.
Oh yeah, that's a big thing.
Literally how I learned. Like I wanted to get that knowledge and build the cars so badly. I don't know what we had to go to the library for in high school, but every time I had to go to the library, I would get Carcraft or whatever and put it in my book and like read the magazines in the library and think about how I was going to steal it.
Get out here with this thing, no matter what.
Now we're figuring out why he got asked to leave a couple high schools.
Stealing the car magazines.
Yeah, there's worse things to do.
Yeah.
Worse things.
Yeah.
So the magazines though were like they were just so great, and that's really what.
And it really was a switch back then. Like people would call, they'd search you out being in the magazines because there was no. Sorry, kids. There was no social media. There was no Instagram. There was no Facebook. Magazines was it.
There was no way, in Southern California that I was ever going to see a car that Tim Strange built.
Right. It was.
Otherwise, they're never going to do that. Like I wasn't going to be able to go, and you know what I mean. Like you just
and vice versa. I mean, a lot of more cars in California were in the magazines, but I was a kid, a BMXer, and I was like, I'm going to turn pro and move to Southern California. And everybody said, you can't build hot rods in the Midwest. You got to move to California.
Yeah.
And there was a BMX guy that does standard bikes still in the Midwest. He did BMX in Iowa. And I was like, I can do hot rods out here. He was like, he's like a good friend, sponsors our team. Won't do our podcast. I want to have him on, like publicly thank him about, the influence that he gave. He was in the movie Rad. His only speaking part with the movie Rad. Yeah. And, but, Midwesterners, like we looked at all the California guys because, this issue they're at Boyd's shop doing a how-to, and then the next issue they're at California Street Rods because they're just all right there in that same area. And there wasn't, there was Chicago. They could fly into Chicago, so Midwest Hot Rods got in some stuff. And the roadster shop that Jeremy and his family bought, that name that was a Waukegan or something up north, was the roaster shop was around since like the 70s. But, small town kids weren't getting into magazines until Al Adams got his 44. He was like king of the world to cover a street rodder in like 1993. It's like, oh my God, he's a rock star. Yeah.
I know that guy.
Yeah. When I started doing old school rods and Car Culture Deluxe, like one of the things that was really important to me was like, I wanted to make it where.
Okay, so we jump out of time frame a little bit. We're going to talk some more about cars. But while we're on this, when we're talking about the magazines, let's talk about the magazines. So you did Car Culture Deluxe, and old school rods.
Yeah.
For how many years did you do?
4.5 years.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was really consuming, like other things in my life. I tried to put everything into it.
And running a shop.
Shop.
We'll get to that point, but a whole bunch of employees. Big shop.
Yeah, big shop. Boy, there's a lot to talk about there. But what I was going to say about the magazines, though, was when I got the opportunity to try and do something with them, I discovered and learned kind of how it worked prior to me, and I kind of felt like I wanted to make a change where anybody could make it. Anybody, an artist, a painter, I really wanted to make it where it really kind of opened up the doors to the culture, to custom culture, and that anybody could be in there. Mm-hmm. And we started to try and do a featured builder, and I tried to go out and find people.
You were getting low because you didn't one on me, so you're running out of people to do, I guess. So.
Right. Yeah, I'm sorry, I wasn't going to bring it up. But I really try to like do that where it was like not to take away from legends and from history and everything, but I wanted to try and make it where some of the contemporaries and the people younger, middle age, whatever, that they could be in there.
Because you remembered the feeling getting in the magazine, and what it did for the business.
That's really what drove me, was that I wanted to save print for car guys to be able to have the opportunity to be in the magazine and have that feeling. Mm-hmm. That was the whole kind of underlying jam.
You say that all the time, like, remember what it feels like.
Yeah, because I'll never forget what that felt like. When I was in the magazine, I feel like I made it. Yeah. It was before I won any big car show.
Yeah, and I'm sure some of them builders that you put in there, their phone rang, or they got an email.
Yes,
they got an email. Yeah. Oh, I seen your car. Let's do something. Or can I come by your shop and, hey, I just want to buy a T-shirt, or something like that, which it all helps.
Well, I think that's another beautiful thing about the custom culture is how I think everybody wants to share that, and open people up to it. I mean, I was inspired that way too. I had Scratch, who I've known for 13 years.
He's an upcoming guest, and we're gonna have Scratch on. I've known him for a long time.
He was literally the one who believed in me, and taught me how to TIG weld over the phone.
Yeah, and see, I say this a lot at events, and I guess I'm lucky that I'm in a lot of circles. I do some drag race announcing, so I know a lot of drag racers.
Yeah.
Top Fuel Champion will be on before this one goes live, and he's a buddy. And autocrossers, I've met all these awesome autocross people. And then the street rod guys and the custom guys and the muscle car guys and the mini truckers and all that. But I say it, and I'll say this till the day I die, custom people are not like anybody else in the industry. Mm-hmm. Like, they're the chillest. Yeah, there's a few assholes out there, but that's everything. But custom people are like, almost every custom guy be like, I cut this like this and do this. This is what I screwed up on. Yeah. Like, they're very... I'm going to say all the custom people that I've come across, the egos are a lot less.
Humble.
Yes.
Yeah. And because most of those old guys, they want to pass on the knowledge because the custom big isn't as big as it used to be, sadly, and they want it to continue. They want to do.
I think that's where that love came from, like just being so inspired by that, and that they invested in you. And they're like, yeah, you can do it, and they root you on. Like, that's...
So if you go to Custom Car Revival, there's 200 cars there. There's a whole bunch of people, and it's just like, it's like going back in time. He keeps it white walls, no billet wheels, no fuel. If you got fuel injection, keep the hood closed. Yeah. If it's in black and white, it looks like a parking lot party from the 50s. It's super rad. And like, I met a couple people I've never met before a couple weeks ago. It's like the coolest people.
Yeah.
There's something about it. I just,
So when you're young, you're trying to learn stuff, and you get very competitive, especially like being from racing and what have you, and you become this person that's competitive, and you're not seasoned, at like what you're doing. So maybe you feel a little, not as secure about your building or what have you. But when
you touch that car, you know where every flaw is. And you think everybody, there's a blinker on every flaw that you've got on your car.
And everybody's going to see it, and they're going to just do that. But then you realize that, your cars are being received well and people are seeing the art and appreciating that. And then I think you get to the point where it's almost like you shift gears and you don't dwell like that anymore, and you want to pass it on, the give back. You want to give back to younger generations or to the culture itself, or try and do what you can to help it sustain. Like we were saying before, people now that are building the cars aren't building the same cars that we built, right? They're doing like the Mercedes we talked about, and it's not easy to get a 17-year-old, the 32 or the Camaro or whatever it's going to be, right? So,
there's still those kids out there. I go to enough events, and like the traditional hot rods and that and the lower dollar stuff and the flathead stuff is still strong, but just say 99% of the time it's because their dad, grandpa, uncle was a hot rod. So it's like, I got this old Model A Roadster. Like, I don't know any kids that's like, oh man, I don't know any kid under 25 years old that, I even want a Camaro.
Right.
They might want a third gen Camaro, but they don't want a first gen Camaro.
No.
How many kids under 25 do you know?
I don't know if I can say this. This is being recorded.
There
But like we go, like in our town, we have a great county auto program in Lewisburg, Tennessee, Spotlow. Like they also teach cosmetology, building trades, robotics, welding, machining. I built a new chassis table. I had the machine shop, machine all the threaded holes in it. And we go and talk to the kids. Yeah. And half of them are falling asleep.
Yeah. The room is full, there's probably 4 of them really listening.
Yeah, but I'd say now there's probably 40 kids in there, and half of them are like, oh, this is kind of cool. And it's like, you know what a hot rod is? And they're like, well, the diesel lifted trucks. Those are today's hot rod kids. And a couple tuner kids. Like the tuner kids are really interested in what we're doing. And some of the diesel kids are too. But like some of them are just like, bro, I'm just here because I thought it was going to be an easy class. Yeah. But that's any. My sister was a teacher. That's any class. When I went to auto body school, teachers seen that my project was a Pro Street 56 and my dad owned that, but wheel tubs. But I had to stay after for math class a couple nights a week, like 3 hours. So I got to be buddies with the HVAC guy. I built the wheel tubs and the floor pans and learned. He taught me all that for no money.
Nice.
He's like, well, I'm here and the shop's empty. You want to come over here? Because I'm luckily I had really good teachers. And then the auto body is like, he stayed late and taught 3 of us how to lead. He could see that there's 3 of us that really, the other guy had a really nice Firebird that he was putting quarter panels on. But, it takes that teacher to be special. But if you're a good teacher, you see that spark and you go out of your way to help. And I was lucky that I had that. I started to play, we did Corvettes when I was a student. I was pretty much 16. So we didn't do a lot of leading, but we did, show car paints and collision in a small town. But so I learned, high-end paint work and body mods and stuff like that, and candy paints. We did bass boats too as a kid. Yeah, fiberglass. Yeah. So I had good teachers there too. So.
Yeah, and you don't forget.
Yeah.
So I think that that was a real big thing for me. Talking about the magazines, is it changed me. I learned a lot. Learned a lot about myself and a lot about people.
So you got the magazines. What year was that when you got the magazines?
2019. Okay. The same year that 18 magazines went out.
No. So was it okay for a while when a lot of them magazines went? Did you see a little rise in your subscriptions or magazines?
So right off the bat, we made some changes. Obviously, we rebranded and changed the logos and changed the look and changed kind of a lot. And right off the bat, it was very well received, and we actually were making some money in 2019. But what really killed the magazines was COVID. Because
that's why it paused for a couple of years of Router's Journal, because then the printing places, everybody wasn't working and you couldn't get the supplies.
The biggest issue for us was losing all the advertising.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And the advertising went out, and even the diehard sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that really did it. But then here comes, the currency exchange and the print costs and the ink and the paper supply and all this. It just became a nightmare. And by the time that kind of subsided, we tried to shift and do different things and forego, the advertising component. And it just every month was more expensive, and we were printing fewer
And then that's
Because
magazines.
you got the hope, like
More
anything,
money now.
you got the hope,
Right.
okay, everything is going to
They
get back to
don't
normal
have
after
Right.
COVID and prices are going to come down. But
No.
nobody's lowered the price. Paint's still high, but it's like, oh, they'll
But
pay.
then
So
asking your customers like, man, we gotta up this subscription,
Right.
to make, and that's hard too. 'cause
at that
like,
time, how much was a subscription there at the end?
before COVID?
Oh,
Like I just got a renewal for a magazine that I
um,
won't say, but I thought it was 12 months. It might be every month and a half or
Man,
something. Because I know I never get a full year because I go to renew every year at Street Rod Nationals, and
You go to a show.
I
yeah.
have to buy an issue that doesn't come in the mail on that 1 year subscription. I was like, what? The math doesn't math. I mean, I'm not super smart, but like their subscription now. I mean, it's quality paper.
See, that's the whole thing too.
It's
And
$75 for the year now.
okay, well,
Yeah,
I think yours
when
was a little bit lower than
we
that.
we
but-
were always trying to just kind of in the end all we were trying to do is break even.
Mhm.
We just tried to keep it alive, and I think we were at like $49 or something, and
something. it should
and
have-
people just didn't want to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but
We ended up having to come off of the newsstand. That was one
Because
step.
that's
That was
when all
to
these,
try
like
to-
the guys that started after all those magazines closed, the In the Garage Media guys, they did Modern Riding,
Truck.
Classic Truck, and all Chevy. They stayed off the newsstands for the longest time
Right,
because of, you can probably say that, like, you send these all out and you get 50% of them back, don't you?
They just throw them away.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
It's like 90% waste. All those magazines that go out, they just don't get sold and they go to the trash. But the cost of doing that and being on the newsstand
to
just
get
made it
into
to where
standards.
we're trying to not
Get
raise the
something,
price on the cover price, but then you start pushing $10 and it's like nobody's buying it. It's just
Yeah.
It was really weird.
So Hot Rod's quarterly now. So it's a little bit different. They got a little bit more than they had when they were monthly.
Yeah, you're trying to.
I bought
sell
one because my subscription is out. I grabbed one at Barnes and Nobles with tax the other day.
something. There's still
One,
Barnes and Nobles.
yeah, down by the Franklin Mall, right? Yeah, it's not a border. There's no borders. There's a few
Right.
Barnes and Nobles
Yep.
with tax. It was almost $17 for one
Okay.
issue, and it's not like it's a Rodder's Journal or a Wheel Hub that's really thick. It's 100 pages, I think, is what they are.
Right.
Now they're limited to 100.
yeah.
It's like, well, that's because kids aren't going to pick up a Hot Rod magazine because they don't have a $20 bill in their pocket when they're 8 years old.
Right. And like, you get up, I forget what they call the things when you get close to the counter, the candy and all the stuff, like and
that's
then
right.
you got like an insurance bill to pay and gas to put in the car.
Yeah.
It just becomes,
My niece was just down.
Who wants to buy a magazine? And
Right.
beef jerky?
Beef jerky's too high too. Let's just say that. And like my niece always remembers because we had her a lot racing bikes. She was a bike racer. She's what? How old is Tiffany now? 28, 7, 8.
7-ish.
Anyway, she goes, not impressed at all when I showed him. Her husband finally just came down and seen our shop the first time. They
He
came
was
to a
like, he was cool though. She was just like,
I mean, he likes the cars. He's not a car guy, but he's a hunter. But he wanted to see the shop. But they didn't have a twinkle in their eye like I.
right.
It's kind of like that meme. It's like, oh, look at my thing, and nobody cares about whatever I just made. It's like, look at my magazine collection. They're like, okay,
Yeah. What's wrong with him?
not a twinkle. Like
I mean,
you're
I might
weird.
say the same
But she remembers every time we went to Walmart or we went to town, you were always looking for a magazine. I'm like, well, one, I was always looking for what I was in. So
Well,
it's like,
wait, whoa. First of all, her husband asked, "So, where do you get all these magazines?" And she goes, "Oh, you just go down to Walgreens. You don't get vintage magazines
Yeah,
at
no.
Walgreens."
And then I go, this one's from 1948, and she's looking at me like,
When was
there
that?
was words in 1948. Yeah.
Dude, yeah.
Did they deliver them in a covered wagon? Yeah, pretty
I
much.
always kind of pipe dreamed that like we're going to keep the magazines long enough for them to become popular again, like vinyl.
Like they come back, the research. I always
Yeah.
think that they will.
Yeah, but
I'm just saying.
I do buy some vinyl every once in a while.
when they become
It's
like tangible
cool.
things are cool again, like to collect or something. Yeah,
But now I have so much that I need to put it on paper, but I've talked to them, like my magazine collection is going to be donated to the museum in Lincoln.
I think that's so cool.
Whether they'll do anything with them. But the cool thing about the Lincoln Museum is if they get something, they never sell it.
Oh, I love
They have
that.
enough to storage as
So
we
they
go.
will store.
Like we had a customer that donated a car to the Peterson Museum. When Peterson changed hands, they sold it. They sold like 80 cars. They got rid of all of them. A lot of, I mean, they kept like the really amber cars and stuff like that.
Magazine collection sounds like it's going to be a lot of heavy lifting to get to that museum.
Somebody's going to have to do that, but they'll send somebody for it. If you donate stuff, they'll send somebody for it.
Yeah.
Are there even any tattoo magazines? Like, I mean, what is even out there today?
Yeah, there's still a few.
A few?
What was the one I was in?
Pop-up? Or no,
Inked.
Inked.
I was in Inked.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's still out. I looked at Barnes and Nobles the other day. Franklin has a nice Barnes and Nobles down there.
You have to check it out.
They also have Books A Million out here.
I was in a lot of tattoo magazines.
Yeah.
I was doing it for my people.
Yeah.
Representing their work.
Uh-huh.
I know a couple good tattoo shops around too. She's ready to go get into it. There's a guy that he's a custom guy.
Yeah.
Chris Saint.
Okay.
Chris Saint.
I should probably meet him.
He has a flame right up your alley. He's got a flame shoebox.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, perfect. That's my guy.
Custom Thrills. They got 2 locations.
And the Poor Boys?
Yes. Yeah. And a rockabilly band too.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yep.
Yeah,
He's
I
on some
still
of them
have.
shows. And then there's an East Nashville location that he has customs too, mild customs.
Oh.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
a lot of tattoo guys. They're kind of custom people.
Yeah,
They really
totally.
are.
They're artists.
Traditional. Yeah.
Comes
Artists
together.
like to
So okay,
rolling art.
you've seen the end coming of the things, which I say mad respect of the magazine. You could have cheapened it up. You could have, we're only going to put 20 pages of color. But the paper was good, the printing was good, the binding was, they were quality pieces. They were bound different, but they were right on par with the paper and everything for Writer's Journal and Wheel Hub and Routing USA. Yeah.
Everything
So
was
you
beautiful.
didn't fold to that. It's like, if I'm not going to do it right, I'm not going to do it.
Try to do right.
You could have condensed and tried
There's also
for another year to do one title together. I've seen magazines, the BMX magazines did that back in the 90s. Of like, this one and this one, the freestyle and the racing one is it's one title now. It never was any time, never thicker.
The conversation becomes a lot like why we didn't go digital,
that was the big
from the
too,
thing,
like the jump on doing digital.
and that's always like this, because you want to keep it what it
It's
is
not the same.
and keep it
It's
ink
not the
and
same.
paper and
'Cause I can
tangible
just
and do
go
the thing,
look
but
for you instead of
Especially like custom guys, the guys that want that magazine, they're like, okay, so hey, you want to see the website my car was featured on? I share links every once in a while that when your car was in the magazine of Hot Rod or Custom Rodder, they have some of that. They don't have a lot of custom rodders online, but it's still out there. Sometimes it's not easy to find, but it's still out there. They put it online. But I'm just that age that I'm old enough that's like, how is just online only sustainable? That's a big
I
word.
think
No, I
there's
don't
a little
think
thing
it
that even
is,
went
though.
out to even say that it might go digital. I think it was
we
to
were
catch to
trying
see-
at the end to try and
There's a lot of people
to
who
get
are like,
interest,
I
but
don't do phones. I don't
the-
do computers. I don't know what you're gonna do with that.
the thing that we really would have been cool with, or could have been cool about digital though, is that there's so much content that we created that's never been seen.
Yeah.
Mm.
Right.
And as a car guy, you always want to see more pictures of the car
Yeah.
and all this, but there's so much video and there's so many photos and so much stuff that nobody sees it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you still have that someplace.
Yeah, we do. But who's to say?
Yeah.
So, yeah, but that would be the one thing I think that somebody could do a really good job with a digital platform would be so that you got to see all the stuff that was created.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if they do a photo shoot, they're not taking the 7
Just-
pictures that you see in the magazine. They've taken
Yeah.
70 pictures
Right.
to show
John
you
Jackson
seven.
does that, the non-stop photography guy.
Yeah.
He has permission. Hey, well, he's shooting this for whatever. He shoots for a lot of magazines. Okay, you guys don't do video. You're just it's going to print. So he has a decent YouTube page. So he'll get his drone out and do all this stuff and post it on his YouTube, and they allow it. He has to kind of wait till like the magazine's out or something like that, I think. Yeah, or he can do a teaser stuff and it's coming out in issue whatever.
Yeah.
And
I thought a lot about trying to make it where there could be a QR code in the feature, and you could scan the QR code and then watch the video.
the In the
and do
Garage
other
Media
stuff.
guys do that.
Do they? Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
not
thinking
everyone,
it's-
but they're like, check out more online and
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
another
really
So, okay, QR
Have a
codes.
heart attack.
I don't like QR codes.
well.
I think they freak me out, but I realize I'm old.
How do you feel when it's like a restaurant menu and you're like,
Oh,
I
scan it,
hate
and you're
that.
like,
I
what?
hate
that.
Scan what?
No.
So we started to do
What a thing.
shirts for the podcast, the Strange Motion Way t-shirts.
Nice. I'd like to get one.
And Carrie should have bought some. And we'll get some to you. And she's like, on the back, I just want a QR code with the logo in the middle. I go, that's stupid. So BMXers come and go from our house all the time again. They're 21 to
They know all
25.
about it.
It's like, are you going to scan a QR code? She goes, we scan it even if we're at Walmart. We scan a QR code. So it's like, okay, they're the next generation.
Yeah,
that's the people you want to get this in front of. And we went to the NASCAR race with her, and she scanned 3 people's QR codes on their shirts, and she's like, yeah, we might just say screw you or whatever.
I do
But
have
it's
to
like,
say, it was a little awkward when I was wearing the T-shirt at the BMX National in Nashville, and
and
all
because
these boys kept
these
coming
teenage
up
kids
scanning
are
my
scanning
QR
their-
code. I was
it's
like, this is a little awkward, but people do it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That is the thing.
Yeah.
But you're trying to get them, and then you're trying to keep you're dedicated.
we did make the QR code just a touch too big, so you have to
it's
like
a little hard. You
pull
gotta,
the
like,
shirt down to make sure it could be a little bit
It's just
smaller.
right,
Yeah,
yeah.
so it's hard to get like somebody
Tim-
random.
Pull back.
Tim is also the type of person that, he needs to order something and he goes to eBay or he goes to Amazon and he doesn't know how to put it in his cart.
We're the old couple. We're the old couple. You ever seen the old couple at the ATM where they pull up and the wife gets out and walks over to the ATM because the husband doesn't?
Oh yeah.
We're that couple. It's like I've really used the ATM 3 times by myself, and I called her.
I mean, there's a lot of people that are like, don't do digital. I don't do.
Yeah, I can put fuel injection in a car, LS, and hook that up. But some of this stuff, I'm like,
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, technology on
That's
the
the thing. Though.
electronics is not your.
yeah, I see myself. It was about 3 weeks ago. Daryl Starbird called me screaming mad because he deleted everybody's number out of his cell phone.
Does
How
he
do you
have
do
like-
that?
Does he have a flip
I,
one or is it
I
a
have
flip
stuff.
one?
I was like, oh my God, Carrie, I touched the button and everything went blank. And
Everyone's gone.
yeah.
It's not gone. Calm down.
And I was like, he's like, who is this? And I'm like, this is Tim Strange. Well, at least I got a buddy. I was like, I am 10 hours away from you. I can't help you with
I
your
can't help
phone.
you,
Yeah.
And I am the worst one to call. So.
Yeah.
Would love to help you, but
I'm in that same
Would love to
circle as
help
him.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope he got it recovered. It's flying in the cloud, whatever that means.
Yeah.
Everything's
Tim
cloud.
literally thinks it's like that
The
cloud
cloud.
that's right out there.
Yeah.
That's got his information.
Like the
in it.
Jetsons. It's
And
like,
he
you know,
do
they,
this
yeah.
and bring it back
Yeah.
down. Yeah.
Like Spacely Sprockets. We worked at a factory in the sky. That's what I think it is. Yeah.
Bless your heart.
It's okay.
She didn't marry me for my brains.
No.
I don't know what she did. I had a cool car. That's what it was. Yeah.
And it
Well,
wasn't
that's-
a
yeah.
Mohawk either.
No, definitely. My Mohawk was definitely gone by the time we started dating. She wouldn't have dated somebody in the Mohawk.
Yeah.
Just wanna change him.
All right. So the magazines ended. What year is that? Was it 2020 or
20.
3, 2, 3, 3, 3. End of 3, I think. Around 23, 24.
Okay, so my hat's off to you for trying.
Thank you.
There's so many people that don't try things in this world, and you tried it. It
It was
didn't
rough.
they make it, but 4.5
Yeah, it was-
years and buying. It wasn't a new magazine brand. You guys bought
Right.
existing magazine, but you did a.
But you want to do justice to
I tell you, if you screwed it up, but you did a good job. The print was good. The colors were good. The pictures were good. It was super cool. It was different than everybody else magazine, but the builder saying and having not just cars like we're featuring a tattoo person or something like that. It was really cool magazine.
And I think
Thank
the
you.
passion they all had for it.
Yeah, and it showed.
Really,
It
yeah.
definitely showed. So this is a magazine thing. So Hot Rod, how many years ago now, they talked about this, like Freiberger has talked about this, is where I heard it. They were having their monthly planning meeting on their magazine for Hot Rod magazine. You would think you would be a car person, you're working at Hot Rod.
Yeah.
These 2 young guys, when Carol Shelby passed away, they say, hey, when do you guys do the tribute article, Carol Shelby passed away? They both said, who's Carol Shelby?
Oh.
Great.
They worked at Hot Rod.
Yeah.
It's like, what? But they're like, oh, the Shelby Mustang? Well, it's a little bit more than that. But yes, so they passed it on to somebody else to properly do his tribute.
Yeah, because
Good, good decision.
Yeah.
that feel. And you can,
Yeah.
I mean, you
I,
can even see people's builds.
So, I mean, how many people did you have working for the magazine?
Well, so we had people all over the country that were working for the magazine, but not
like freelancers.
Yeah. And I had a couple employees that were remote. Sabina Kelly from Vegas, and anyway, so in the shop though was 3.
Yeah,
the big 3
In a room at the hot rod shop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, in the hot rod shop, we published the magazines out of the front office. Yeah, 3 of us. Yeah, we all worked our butts off.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
and then a shop, having the shop too, so it's dual.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Passion.
I'm still recovering.
Yeah.
But
question you were trying to get in? Or are we catching up? So the magazines. Do you have anything else on the magazines before we go back to the shop?
Let's go back to the shop.
Okay. So the shop.
Yeah.
Got really big.
Yeah.
Like how many years did you stay like small until like I've only had one like technically full-time guy on the books.
We're just talking about.
And one summer I had 3 because my cousin and one of my best buddies were in between jobs and they were both very good mechanics, so they kind of
Allegedly.
Randy and Lance are mechanics.
Yeah, but they were just friends helping you.
Yeah, it's past. I paid him cash. I paid him cash, and that was just like 3 months in between their gigs. And I mean, these guys came and helped me some anyway. It's like they were there during the day.
Yeah.
And my shop was 3,200 square feet, and that was a little too much to be around.
Yeah.
But then even at that small of people, you're taking in jobs you don't really want to do because you're trying to keep them busy.
Yeah, it's hard to say no.
Yeah.
You need the work stacked up to keep feeding the machine, I was in South Austin until 2017, and
Wait, so when did you go from California?
When did you leave California? So you were running your shop,
California.
In California.
I had 2 guys that worked for me, and I tried to take them both with me, and then they always have. It's always a girl. There's a girl in every story. Here.
So what made you want to leave California?
So a
lot of people have moved to Texas.
I was
places.
yeah.
Tennessee now.
I was way before the wave of like get out of California. I left because I guess I really left because of the down market in 2008 and the whole problem with the mortgage industry and like what happened to the banking and the houses, and my house was upside down really, really badly, and I wanted to thrive, and I was wanting to do stuff. So I had some buddies that were opening a bar in Austin, and I went out there, and I went to see the speed shop and did some different things and contemplated like being an investor in this bar. And I just thought, it seems to me that hot rod trends are kind of always going from west to east. I could be wrong. And it seems to me that at that time, the Lone Star Roundup and the cars and everything that was going on in Austin was kind of about 10 years behind where I kind of felt like the movement was. And I thought that it was a very good opportunity to go there and be a custom shop in Austin at that time. And it was a booming economy. And I was tired of the Californian stuff,
Everything's just so expensive out there. I mean, I go out there. I like California. I don't want to live there, but housing, shop rent, gallon of fuel it's nuts.
Yeah.
So my other buddy was he owned Steady Clothing, and he was teaching me how to vend and how to do like this horseshoe booth. There's a whole science to this thing that I go to these shows, and none of this stuff was out there, like in the Midwest and so forth. Everybody loved all this California stuff. So I just decided I'm going to go open a hot rod shop in Austin and have a lifestyle shop connected to it at the same time. And then that would park all this merchandise, and then I would take it to shows. And I did great. And my shop grew, and we had really well-received cars that we built. They did great out in the universe, and it was a really good time.
You were small, though, at that shop.
Yeah, I mean, at the most I ever had, I think, was 4 or 5 people in that shop. And then this customer presented this opportunity to me to at least own a commercial building. And that's when I moved to this bigger shop. And I always had a...
How big was your shop square footage when you first moved down there, and what did you move into?
So I went from 1,800 square feet in California to like 4,200 square feet in Texas, and then to 10,000.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I'm in a shop by myself that's almost 8,000. It's like 7,800. I say it's 8,000.
Yeah.
And it's full of stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
But I still wouldn't want a whole bunch of, like, a few employees in there would be decent, but I really don't want.
I kind of feel like whatever space you have, it just fills up.
But yeah, it definitely
It just does, you know. My problem really was just that I've always had a tough time saying no to business when it's coming through the doors, and it was coming through the doors. And when I went to the bigger shop, it just grew, you know, we're growing.
So you say it was 08, 09 you moved to Texas?
In 10.
10, okay.
Yeah, 10.
In Austin, then
And then 17, I went to the bigger shop. And it was great till it wasn't, you know.
How big did you get? Like, how many people did you have?
I had 34 cars on the floor.
15. There's 15 people.
Yeah, I know we've talked about that before on the phone, and yeah, I can't. I've been to a bunch of shops, and my buddy I go to California. He was as big as like 17 people. He's like 7 now, and he goes,
Yeah,
"I almost
bring
think
it
it's
back down.
too many."
Yeah.
And like, who was it? Who was it? It was Delmo, the truck guy.
Yeah,
He was in
Del.
like Burbank,
yeah.
and had guys, and he just moved to, I'm gonna say it right, Prescott,
Yeah.
Arizona. And I think he's maybe got a couple of guys that help him. He's just like living in like.
So
And there was another guy that was building high-end hot rod. I'm blank on his name. I can hear his voice. And he did the same thing. Had like 20 guys and featured in the magazines and shop tours and Good Guys tour stops and all that. And he, same thing, moved out in the middle of the desert someplace and just like, I got me and my buddy.
Yeah, I totally get it. Like, for me, ultimately, what I mean, there's a lot to this, but ultimately,
Because when
for
you were
me,
a kid, you wanted first to be in a magazine. It's like, I want to build hot rods.
Yeah.
Never have I been, like, I've been big backlogs and low backlogs and all that. And I never dreamed, you know what I want to do? I want to sit in the office on the phone all day long and order parts while these guys, I want to make sure they're working.
Making sure they're
No desire.
supposed to.
I've never had that desire.
I never had that desire. I never had any desire other than to build.
But once a train leaves the station, as they say, it's hard to slow that train
It
down.
is, and it took the magazine's ending for me to really like kind of soul search and look at everything around me, the people, and how they say like the chain is only as strong as the weakest link, and I had some weak links, and I just decided like I want to put my hands back and do my art. That's really what I want to do. I want my phone to stop ringing. I don't want to be on the phone with New York and California at the same time and be up at night doing this shit. I want to build. And then we were together, you know, right when this is going down. And it's like, we just want to go do our own thing. You know, we want to go have
I mean, you were still putting out good work. You were doing a lot.
Sure.
There's some, I've seen pictures online, street rods and all that, some muscle car stuff.
All kinds of stuff.
We walked around. We're not going to walk around and show a shop tour, but you can get on their Instagram and stuff. Like, everything in here right now is customs. There's a couple like street roddy type, like traditional stuff, hot rod stuff, but it's customs.
Yeah, it's our jam.
Yeah.
And to me, this doesn't really feel now like the shop felt. You know, to me, this feels like a studio.
Yeah.
You know, really trying to, and that's kind of the vibe we want to create here. Is like that's like a studio vibe. You know, we're not trying to be.
That's how my uncle, which all the rest of the family always thought he was a weird, burned out hippie, but very talented artist and guitar player, and he's still kind of a burned out hippie. But he built Harleys in the 70s and stuff, and he always called his place the studio.
Yeah.
Because, he looked up to Ed Roth and all that stuff, and it was like, it's the studio.
So I'm, hopefully getting smarter or something, wiser. Like, less is more. And if you really want to do your jam, less needs to be less, to be able to really, focus and do that. And that's what we're trying to do here is get to where, and we talked earlier about like picking the projects that you want to do before it's too late. And there's some stuff I really want to do before it's done. And I think this is like really our time to do those projects and to, get to enjoy, what it was the start, like how it started again.
So you kind of woke up like, oh man, I don't want to have this. So how long did it take to wind down to start telling the guys, hey, we're going to move?
So,
how did you decide you were going to move to Nashville, to Tennessee?
I still ask them, how do we pick Nashville?
So, So like, we picked Nashville kind of the same way I picked Austin, coming more east and bringing, the style of cars
good.
that we
There's
do.
a lot of cool stuff. Entertainment, everything. Yeah.
Big, thriving city, and it's centrally located to go do all these shows and things that we're talking about here, and all kinds of stuff I haven't done before out here. Cars I haven't
there's
seen.
so many events. From there, it's an 8-hour drive. You can get to Charlotte. You can get down into Florida. You can get to the ocean and Orange Beach for vacation. You can, damn near a little bit further. You can get up to Detroit. I mean, Des Moines, Louisville. You can get Kansas City. I mean, you can get to all the stuff out. Of course, Texas is a little bit further drive, 10 hours down to Fort Worth, and California, as you know, that's a hike, and Vegas. But there's so many events within. That's why we stayed in Illinois so long. It's the same thing. 8 hours, you can get to almost all those big Midwestern events.
So we wanted to be an economy, but we want to live in the country. So we figured out how to be able to do that. And it was probably around May, June of 2024 that we really just decided, what we're going to do. And we did pick Nashville partly because there's Supercross here.
Not every year. We talked about that before. It's not every year, but but you're not far to Indy. Indy's really not that far.
We went to Indy, So, man, by September, so May, June, July, August, by September, the end of September, we were like coming to Nashville, and it happened fast. I mean, I unwound that shop.
And you sold a lot of stuff that you didn't. It's like, I don't need some of this stuff.
Yeah, we auctioned off a lot of stuff.
I can imagine even having to take the trips. I mean, we've made so many.
When we moved, and I had way more. I didn't have a pull max. I had my English mill, a planish hammer. I got stomp shears and stuff I didn't have. But we would go back to Illinois every other week after I was done filming at the TV studio.
Oh yeah.
With our 28-foot trailer.
Yeah.
We did that 18 trips.
I mean, it's exhausting.
I think we've done 7
because we couldn't afford a mover. Like, hey, ship all this stuff for me.
Well, we moved our house, but we still made 7 or 8 trips
just for shopping.
Yeah, for all different reasons. But
I didn't think we were going to get our stuff from
we're moving. It's a whole story.
It was wild.
So by October, we were here for Thanksgiving. So we were here by the end of October.
Yeah, and you called me one time.
Yeah.
We was talking about an indoor show. And it's like, hey, man, this is a secret, but I'm moving to your area. Like, oh, cool. So it's like, when you get up here, we're going to do the podcast. And it's like, okay, wait. Okay, the shop's not ready. And then our schedules and traveling and all that stuff. So we've only been trying to get this podcast like 3 months.
Right.
Trying to get together.
Yeah, here we are. Yeah. That's how it goes. Yeah, so that unwound quickly. It's been,
when you do something like that, you kind of almost...
You just got to go.
Well...
You got to do it.
You guys have any kids?
Grown.
Okay, yeah, we don't have any kids. And so, when we moved to Tennessee, it was for the TV show.
Yeah.
Right. I want to be on TV. But with the TV thing come, I volunteered there a couple times. Well, they were going to help moving for our house expenses to move that. And I was like, okay, I know TV won't last forever, but we love Nashville because we'd come down here for BMX races.
Yeah.
And she vacationed here as a kid. We did cheerleader competitions. We loved it. So it's kind of a sign. It's like, you want to do that? Like, the offer was made in 2 weeks. We were here in a hotel that they put us in. So then we kind of paused everything. Luckily, our house was in the country a quarter mile from my mom and dad, so they keep an eye on everything. Yeah. Paused the shop for 6 months, found the place that we rented still now that we bought. And it's like, we couldn't have done that if we had kids in school.
Right.
No, it's like they say, you just pull the Band-Aid off. And it's like, I still remember that conversation, standing in the barnyard at my mom and dad's. It's like, yeah,
we're gonna do it.
They're like my best friends right down the road. We see them all the time. And it's like, we're going to Nashville. Oh, cool. When are you coming back? No, we kept this secret to people.
Yeah.
Like, it was a big, I got a TV show offer and we're going to move down there, and it's a part-time thing. I can still run my shop. We're moving to Tennessee. My dad, we were in Tennessee for 5 years before my dad came to visit. My mom, her mom came, some friends came. Now we've been down here 14 years. We don't have any friends coming hardly anymore. My sister's been here since. My dad comes.
They've already made.
My dad comes about once a year. My mom's gone. your mom was coming twice a year there for a while, and but like your friends from back there.
But you miss that.
We really, I talked to just a couple of my buddies from back there that I'm really close with. You don't hardly have many people that you talk to. When you move away, you realize some of your friends are just a convenience for you. We've talked about this when we did. Josh Shaw moved away, and he goes, but he needed to because he was about big partier guys, and he goes, when you're not their partner, they're not really your friends anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
But you might see them at the shows, and you pick right back up or something. But like that. But when you're born and raised in an area, but I still remember my dad always thought that when the TV show ended, we were coming back.
Oh.
Like he wanted to buy our house that we sold because then you'll have it.
He'll be there waiting for you.
And I'm like, no. And then finally he come down and visited, and he goes, oh, I get it. He loves it down here. It's like, I hate that you're not down the road, but he likes and they like our new friends that we've met. My mom loved our other friends that pretty much everybody we're friends with, we met at the BMX track.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's different. It's weird.
It is.
And then running a shop is different. It's like, where do I get a radiator fixed? That's that's the part that I never had. I was like, where do I get a piece of glass cut?
I'm going to call you.
Yeah. I got a few guys.
I'm like, hey, there are people.
I still, for the windshields, I still use Brian, the glass guy, Chicago glass guy.
Yeah.
He'll come down and he deals with a lot of hot rod shops around.
Yeah, I think
Good to know.
Jason and
Sometimes he'll leave stuff
They'll
for people from
travel.
Louisiana and they'll stop and pick it up. Like I'm a drop place for some people further south. But
You have that, you just have this gravity to find the place that found the motor place that's out here and the chrome place and and you start making
what do
new.
you use for chrome around here?
It's called.
No.
Because I use advanced plating, but that's only
No,
for
it's not
it's
that.
a high end chrome shop.
And I've seen
Yeah,
their
I'll
stuff.
give you it after we're
Yeah.
done.
Who's your motor guy?
It's this
Shacklets?
cool little shop over here off of Fessler's. It's going back in time.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
like going to
Because
super
when
shops.
I was at the
and-
studio, we used local machine shops, and I can't. Shacklets is one that's been around forever, and something else. But there's a couple.
I don't even know the name.
Plus or
It's
or 50 plus.
Dude, it's great, and they're in the old school uniforms,
Yeah.
the shop get up with the
The
pants.
shop has that
even.
smell when you walk in.
Yeah, it's
Nothing
like
for you,
checkered,
Yeah.
black and white checkered floor and everything, and you just go in there. It's it reminds me of going to super shops.
Yeah.
Back in the day, and you just go in there. I was like, oh my, this is beautiful.
We'll let you know when it's done. Okay. And then
Yeah, we'll give you a call when it's done. They lose your phone number. It's
But
yeah.
then it was done. Though.
I got a guy just a couple blocks from me down in my town that you can't get to him because he's so busy. He mostly does. He used to do all NMCA motors, so he's a drag race guy.
Yeah.
Oh,
And they got their own dyno. You can hear the dyno running
Yeah.
sometimes late at night over there, and hardcore drag race guy. So he don't want to do my street motors,
No.
So, yeah. But yeah, it's a struggle to find the right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's literally starting
Yeah.
over,
Yeah.
And
Good thing we're not there
jump
for other
on-
things yet. We're we don't have the guys for that.
Like I got a guy that he's a car guy. He's got a 55 Chevy, but he runs the normal mechanical shop in town. And I've got to know him, and I just call him or text him. Hey, I need somebody that's a tree trimmer. Oh, call this guy.
Yep.
right.
Stay away from this guy because he's born and raised there. So Will has helped me a lot on stuff around town.
Yeah,
So,
people who are local and no. I'm like,
You know who
listen.
really helped us in the get go was our realtor.
Yes, he was great.
Shout out to Michael.
For real.
Yeah.
That man was amazing.
He knows everybody.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
he just loved to show. I'm like, I didn't feel like that whole weird looking for a house. It wasn't stressful with him because he more cared to tell you about what Nashville is all about. I was like, man, you're good. I need to do a tour.
We did that when we were looking at a place that ends up now it's a big car collector guy has it, but they were trying to sell it. And it was a horse arena that was never finished. 5,000 square foot horse arena with 3,000 on each side that was going to build living quarters into one. And that's when she worked for a horse feed company. The other side was going to be a southern warehouse for them. So you're going to look at this horse place, right? Real estate lady out of Franklin trying to suck up to whoever she thinks we are. And you're us.
She didn't do her research very well.
Yeah. She gets out dressed like a cowgirl out of Franklin. She's got fancy boots and a hat and a buckle. And she's like, so you're not horse people? No. She goes, can I take my hat off? I was like, yeah, we're not cosplaying today. It's like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The funny thing is, Jason Aldean came in and bought the whole property, remodeled it, lived there for a while. Now this other guy, the JHG collection, is on that property.
Nice.
Yeah, so we were going to buy the horse arena when it was for sale separately. But there's cars in there now, so it's still cool. So yeah, but she was all dressed up because we were looking at a horse arena. It's like some tattooed white trash looking guy get out of a car, It's like, you're not horse people. No.
You're a tattoo artist, right?
Yeah. That's the big one.
Yeah.
You're a tattoo artist, right? No, I just got one.
No, I just support
I'm
them.
just a collector.
Yeah.
They feed their kids because of me.
Yeah. So you're here in Nashville now, and
East Nashville.
East Nashville.
East side.
Well, I don't know
I
that
don't
this
know why
is.
they say it's east, because
It's
it's
north.
really not east.
Okay, so
Because
Tim
you're
is
literally like
direct-
5 minutes from the
directionally
football
challenged.
stadium.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right
so-
there.
It's like central. Like that's the middle.
Yes, it's right.
What?
Yeah,
So-
it's right there.
So
So you're just barely in East Nashville.
Yeah,
Barely.
Because like the tattoo place I go to that I told you about is East Nashville. It's
just a little bit.
it's
farther.
not that far
It's
from
not
here
far.
because
We're-
Greenies.
okay,
Have you found
so-
Hunter's Speed Parts place yet?
no.
You're literally 5 minutes. There used to be a hot rod shop there, but that used to be before that.
Oh wait,
It was
Hunter's,
Advanced Plating
yes.
Scrum Shop.
Hunter's is this way, yes.
Yeah.
We've passed it.
What is
it's
So
kinda
my
like
tattoo
that.
place is literally across the street.
Oh, it's like that little
Yeah, it's
thing.
been there for
Yeah, it's
30
right
years
around the
plus.
corner.
I've seen it.
Yeah, that's where you could buy your wheels and your lift
He's
kits.
gonna
And
tell
Oh
you
yeah, we've seen
And
that.
Johnny Froon, the guy that owns it, he looks like Conway Twitty.
Okay.
Like Conway Twitty. Hardcore hot rod guy. Probably through the years had 5 cars built at Boyd Coddington's shop.
That's
Really?
right.
Like legit.
I'd like to just go
Okay.
meet him.
Yeah,
just to meet
legit
him.
car guy.
Yeah, that sounds like a cool dude.
Yeah,
neighbor.
Hunter's been a.
Yeah.
Like you'll go to the football or the Bridgestone and you're standing there peeing with the ads and there'll be Hunter's ads up there. So
Yeah,
they're
they're kind of like tucked away. and
like
I'm
they used to
oh,
advertise
wow.
in like Street Rodder and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So you could buy your billet grills for your OBSs in the 90s from them. They've been around a long time.
Yeah, it's
So,
a 50 plus on his thing.
Yes,
so
right here.
It's literally.
Right
Yeah.
here.
yeah.
But Tim is directionally challenged
I am.
when it comes to Nashville.
Yeah.
So we've lived down here 14 years. It took him 12 years to figure out how to get from where we
But it's
live
really
to here.
weird
No,
how things don't kind of
it took me 5 years. Then I realized, well, if you keep driving north, there's a picture of an airplane up there. So you just follow that little airplane. So I made it.
You can't
the one
just
year-
look for them
coming
in
to
the
the Good Guys
sky.
show that used to be over here in the stadium parking lot. She goes, "How did you get?" I go, "I didn't use the GPS." And she goes, "How did you get it?" And I was like, "Well, funny for the Good Guys weekend." Or sometimes they have the little airplanes. They put a little picture of a hot rod up there, and I just followed the hot rod. She goes, "They did not."
They did not.
It took me 3 years to get used to Austin.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Nashville is,
yay.
but so when we moved down here, I still worked for the feed manufacturer. Tim was in the studio 18 hours a day.
Mhm.
So I just drive.
Yeah.
I just went
And
out
you were out
drove.
looking for houses.
Yeah,
and
I
stuff
looked for
too.
houses and where we wanted to do, what we wanted to do, and I just drove. I drove on the back roads. I just
remember that.
figured
That
out like where everything was, and he's like, now we go down this back road. He's like, I've never
Like-
been down this road.
He's like,
I'm
"Should I be
"Why?"
questioning you? You know all the back roads. You can sneak around. What are you doing?" Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then there for a while, she got. I mean, I was seriously at the studio so much, so she started coaching cheerleading over downtown Nashville and then Murfreesboro, and she knows all these back roads to go a different way to Murfreesboro all the time. And I'm like, I know 2 ways to get there. She's like, I know like 15.
Yeah, but it's a great area.
Yeah,
You
we
guys
like
just
it now.
absolutely love it. We do.
Yeah, we've been enjoying
Yeah.
it.
Because you live in Chicago. When it snows here, they mention snow. It can be 45 degrees and not a snowflake in the air, and they cancel all the schools.
That's what I'm saying. So that was a reality.
So you go to the grocery store, you go to Walmart because there's nobody there.
Everything
Yeah.
would be shut down in Memphis, and then I moved. I'm 15, so I'm like, oh my god, look at all the snow. It's almost up to my knees. I'm like,
Yeah.
no school for like the rest of the year. This is great. Mom's like, you can head on out. I'm like, what?
I remember I was at the studio at Tommy,
Yeah.
or the Muscle Car Show, born and raised down in Pulaski, still lives down there. Drove up from Pulaski every day to the studio. And he walks in, it was like 35 degrees outside, no snow. He's in a stocking hat and a scarf and gloves and a Carhartt and a hood. And I'm like, schools are canceled. He goes, you got to understand, our kids can't stand out and wait for the buses. I go, in Illinois, it might be 10 degrees and 2 foot of snow with the plows, and you're
And
going.
you're going to work.
And you might have to take them down to the main road because the bus route's abbreviated.
Right.
And it's like,
And you're still going.
yeah.
Yeah. So I was like,
Everything functions.
And there was basically no heat in the school bus.
well,
Yeah.
and there's like salt trucks. I was like, what is that thing?
Like our town, I think there's one plow truck and they'll spray stuff like they know snow's coming.
Yeah.
And there's a few farmers that come in with plows trucks to plow
That's
driveways.
nice.
stuff like that. But they just don't know what to do with it because it doesn't snow.
Yeah,
We-
I like the snow.
You need to come see our house. We've been snowed in twice at our house, once for 5 days
Oh.
because we have a super
was
steep
ice.
that drive was ice, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I'll slide into a
That's
tree.
really ice.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm never
The
home.
other
My
thing
cats
is
were
how
tired
they
of it.
don't treat the diesel. So that's the more reality
Yeah.
of the situation is that
You remember that you got a
will
diesel.
gel up,
You're not.
so-
You're a California and a Texas boy. If it gets cold enough here, you got to get the diesel additive at the parts store to put in so your diesel don't gel
Yeah,
up.
that's true.
Like in Illinois, they automatically treat the diesel
Treat it
at the pump.
station.
Oh,
So he has no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, but he was like, I'm like,
my truck froze once in
Yeah.
Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh, in
couldn't
Texas.
drive it for a few days.
Yeah.
They
So
don't
it'll do that
treat
here
it.
because they don't
Yeah.
treat the
Apparently, you could plug it in with an extension cord
Yeah.
and he could
Yeah.
walk and do this, but I
That's
mean,
a
how
lot.
would I
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it did snow a lot. I mean, we saw snow.
Here, yeah, it's
Yeah,
great.
But the cool thing is it doesn't last. Like if it lasts a couple
Yeah,
days,
yeah.
it's very rare here.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I think this last year we got more snow here than they got in Illinois.
almost,
Where
yeah.
they're from.
Yeah.
Really?
Mhm.
I don't miss it.
I hate the snow.
I just don't like the bones cold.
No.
It's the whole thing.
It's pretty. I like the look of snow, like in a movie.
Yeah. No, Christmas, great. Go away after that. Bye bye.
Mm.
I grew up on a farm where I had to fix
And you had to go
frozen
out
waters
do
and everything for the
things
animals and scoop snow out of the feed bunks, and I don't
and
miss that at
bones
all.
just cold.
Yeah,
It's
but
so fun.
that's not like sitting in your, back room looking out the window at the beautiful white snow that's going to be there for a day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
All right,
sometimes
so-
in Illinois, it was there for 3 months.
Yeah.
It used to be. It's not
Yeah.
like that anymore.
So my favorite question to both of you or individually is what's your favorite show to go to? And then my 2-part question is what's one show that you would love to go to that you haven't been to yet?
Oh, bucket list. I love
Yes.
Go ahead, girl.
I would. My favorite is Listen for Revival. It always has been.
You guys missed it this year.
I know. No.
You've missed a few things
Yes.
that you normally go to because
But
of
I'm
the
like
movie.
this.
Oh, yeah.
When,
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Oh, we're-
man.
Yeah, we're working hard to try and get
Yeah.
back on our
Did you
normal
make it out?
routine.
Not to interrupt your question. Did you make it out to West Coast Custom Show? this
Yeah.
year?
Yes.
And I tell you honestly, we really
We weren't
only
planning.
made it to the West Coast because my daughter graduated college the week before.
Yeah, because we talked about coming to the podcast. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, we're in California. And
And we probably would have missed that
And we would have been, yeah. But
just for the
I
sake of
would've
trying to
gotten
get
it.
things going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have gotten it right. Yeah, I mean, in being in the Hall of Fame, you kind of have
yeah.
Brother.
the brotherhood. You feel like you want to
Yeah.
be a part of your group. So we did go there.
So what's your not missing that?
Well, I like the cruise at West Coast Customs. I like seeing the cruise. I actually went on the cruise this year. I drove with somebody and just drove around and the thing was great. But seeing all those cars where they shut the streets down and it is just like yesteryear. And it's
See,
just,
we've never been to that. I always loved, couldn't
Yeah,
wait
yeah.
till the custom router came with Pazo Robles, and now it's in Santa Maria. And
man,
of course, I love Penny. She is full of piss and vinegar. I love Penny to death. And she's like, we need to come to my show. So she tells me it ends Saturday. But this year I got hired. I'd also do some BMX announcing in it. The Nationals here in that town Friday and Saturday. So she says, the Indy 500 is until Sunday. You can fly out Saturday night. So she's figured that out.
oh, she's
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's on it.
So if I don't get hired to do the BMX stuff, we might be going to Penny's show next year.
That'd be
You
great.
would
I'd love
really
to.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's really something to
We'll
see.
hang out for that.
The cars in the cruise, there's like hundreds and hundreds of cars doing that. And they're not the show cars per se. It's like local people and lots of bombs and stuff. And
There's a
really
lot of
nice
customs, though, isn't
There's-
there?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
Tons
yeah.
of customs, but
Yeah, it's a custom show.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what show would you guys like to go to that you've never been to?
Well, there's several out here that I want to go to. I want to go to Trog. I want to go to Dead Man's Curve.
Then it's for
Is there still Lead East?
There's still
Mhm.
Letty's.
Yeah, there's stuff I want to go to.
Yeah.
I don't know which one I would pick.
Those
as
all
like
three sound good.
the-
Nobody said those three. But I put those on my list too. I've not been to them.
Yeah, so I want to do
There's some
all that
overseas
stuff.
shows.
Have you guys ever done the Moon Ice show?
I've been in the not Japan.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
There's
most-
overseas shows that definitely.
But I want to go with
Hunter
the
was
car.
messaging me. He goes, let's start for 2026. Start saving now.
We said
to
the
go.
same thing.
Yeah, I want to take a car. I want to
Yeah, we were close one year to getting a car shipped.
I really want to go with the car. We're supposed to go to Finland this year.
Yeah.
Coming up, if somebody gets her passport.
Yeah, I gotta work on that right now.
Yeah.
I finally got my real ID. I've had a passport, but I finally got my real ID. It took 5 weeks for it to come in the mail.
Oh,
Great.
And our DMV allegedly, I walked in with a salvage title before, and they gave me a clear title, so allegedly. In Tennessee, we have a small town DMV, but other people from bigger towns would come to our DMV to get there when they realized I just kept putting it off because I kept sliding the date.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have flown with my passport, but like I waited in line for like 2 hours that day at our small town DMV to got all my paperwork and through.
I
And it's
waited
like
6. I'm like, oh my god.
I've had mine for
This
years.
is horrible.
yeah, she got hers when it first came out,
I
and
did,
the last
like-
time I renewed my license, I didn't. I was like, oh, no, because the problem, like, I didn't have my name on anything because she put everything in her name, power, and all that when I was at the studio. So finding something with all my names on it,
Like,
it was difficult.
something.
Ended up having like the DMV lady walk through in the line. It's like, oh yeah, I had like 2 or 3 extra things that I need. I brought a lot of stuff. She's like, oh no, you only need these 2. And I was like, oh okay, cool.
I've had very good experiences with
Here.
Tennessee government stuff.
Yeah. We came from Illinois. Like titling old cars were miserable.
Yes, Texas too.
Yeah.
Same thing. I'm like, oh, this was like a breeze.
Yeah, the first trip in Texas is to find out what you're going to need that you didn't need the last time.
Yeah.
In California, the hot rod shop, my buddies, they have a broker that deals with the DMV.
Yeah.
Like an old car that hasn't been titled in 20, 30 years. It's like at that time when I was there, they were doing 2 one time when I was there. And it was like $3,000 a car.
They have a title office in Texas. You go pay somebody to like try and handle it for you. And
Yeah,
you
that's kind of what but this
bonded
person, he
titles
doesn't
and all
know. They come to his hot rod shop. It's like, okay, we have 2 cars. If they have more than 1 car, they'll come from the office down the street and then deal and take pictures of the cars. And
It's like a show.
yeah.
So here I went with our Buick, our 59 Buick, and I said, here's my title, and do you have proof of insurance? And I didn't know if I needed to get an inspection.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, well, you don't need this or this. Just let me see this. And okay, you know. And I said, I have an old plate. And she's like, okay. Like, and it was, $46 or something.
Yeah,
He's
right.
like, I'm back.
Yeah.
So
So have you done your title on your trailer yet?
Yeah.
And you don't have to have a plate in Tennessee.
Well,
But I get a plate because
Yes,
other
she
states.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what she asked me. She said, do you take this trailer out of state? And I said, yes, ma'am, I do. She said, we're going to give you a semi-truck plate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it can't really be overloaded. And it's a
Right.
one-time fee.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, you're lying. He's like,
In
no,
Texas,
that's
you got to
the
get your
idea.
trailer inspected every
Oh,
year.
wow.
We did all that stuff.
My last trailer definitely probably would have not passed inspection.
Yeah, it was a great one. You just told me what are you talking about.
And you made it
It was
90 mile an hour allegedly all the way to St. Louis. So yeah,
Oh, is that the one you just?
I just sold,
Yeah.
yeah. had a lot of
Moving
miles.
on to a new one.
Only 2 years
New
newer.
used. New
Yeah,
used.
newer with cabinets in it. And,
Yeah.
It's an old Motor Trend, old FM3
You have to do
trailer.
maintenance to ours. New seals,
Constant, yeah.
seals.
Ours
Gotta
is
do that, though.
we bought it
Maintenance is
used.
so
It's
important.
2018, but it's a great trailer.
Yeah, this one's a 2009. Is my newer trailer that I just got.
But it's gonna be brand new to you.
It is.
Same
Yeah.
size, so it's just a little nicer. So
Yeah.
I don't like loans and
Mhm.
payments, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I hear you.
And really, we don't haul cars all that much anymore.
We don't.
I mean,
It's more of a storage.
Yeah.
Than
I mean, we keep
anything.
It does hold
like the other
weight.
trailer that
We do.
we shipped the Chevelle out to the Grand National Roadster Show in 24. Got invited for the Pro Street Machine building display.
Cool.
So we met a transporter, the truck stop, put it in there, paid to ship it. Pilot Transport, they're great to deal with Brian.
Mhm.
And they brought it back to the truck stop. I put it in the trailer. January 2024, the car just came out of the trailer 2 days ago because I sold the trailer.
Nice.
I was trying to think if I might have hauled it. I don't think I took it because I took it to Triple Crown the year before that. So it's just been sitting in the trailer. I don't have time to
Aw.
work on the Chevelle. It was in the magazine and stuff and needs transmission thing fixed on it. It's like,
You had
And it's
to
probably
because
gonna-
you sold your trailer.
it's in the shop right now. And I was like, well, I was going to put it back in the new trailer, but the 54 is going to go in the new trailer to haul it to Salina and put it in the museum down there.
We've just gotten to that age
It's a
that
great
it's
museum.
so much easier to call Brian and say, hey, we need the car here because we have to have so many P stops when we drive.
Yeah.
across the
You feel
street.
less anxiety or do you feel better knowing you're trailering it? Does that make sense?
Well, I know the Pilot Transport guys,
So you feel good.
and this is not an ad for them, but Brian is the guy that drives the rig that they sponsor the Hot Rod Power Tour. So they're on the manufacturer Midway.
Yeah.
And I knew him, but then Chris Ryan got to know him, and Chris shipped cars with him. I mean, they're the guys that, the money ones, they treat, like I booked a whole transporter from this part of the country to go straight to the Roadster show. They had a sponsor, put the rig in the vendor row outside, so you didn't have to pay them to stay someplace.
Yeah.
Right. And they put the coveralls on, they put the tape over it. I mean, they're professionals. And
awesome.
He was giving me updates. I was like, I've known the guy that's the main, it's one of the drivers for, they have a bunch of trucks, but I just know this guy that does the hot rod circuit.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, I'm here, car's doing good. Here's a picture. It's like,
Well, Mr. Electronics, I got an Apple tag and I put it in the car.
It went dead.
I was in California because I was at King of the Hammers, and he calls me freaking out because it quit tracking in Oklahoma. It's fine.
But I did get a hold of Brian. I go, you go to my track. I warned him that there's a track, because sometimes trackers come up on other people's phones.
Yeah.
As I put a tracker in the car, and he goes, yeah, most people do. I go, my tracker went, you good? You got the cars? He goes, yeah, I'm good. He says, I'm 2 states away from where your tracker quit. He says, I'm good. So
yeah. He about had a heart attack.
It's like,
I do this.
Yeah.
Go off the road or you run trees.
Yeah. All right.
But you also had a tracker on your key fob for your Cadillac and lost him for 6 weeks and found him underneath the litter box.
Yeah, but that battery was dead. I have one on my backpack. I have one on my car keys because I lose shit all the time. So I got to that.
Keys, she's terrible.
I'm awful with keys.
And they're like, where did I put it? It's like right there.
Me, it's my glasses.
Oh yeah.
That too. Mine are normal.
I'm needing glasses, and I left my glasses. I'm supposed to drive with at the house tonight.
I'll be driving home.
Yeah. So my question is, what car do you want to build? You can just say, hey, I want to build another shoebox, because if you don't want to give your secrets, there's probably a car that both of you, I want to do this car, or I want to finish this car of that. You can just, without giving you don't have to give all the details, because somebody might listen to this and steal your ideas. But you can say, I want to do another shoebox. I've always wanted to do something.
Mine, 54 Kaiser.
So you have your Kaiser now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
In Tennessee.
Is it in Tennessee?
Awesome.
Yeah.
And that's you turned it into a 2-door?
Yep, it was 4-door,
chopped,
2.
Building a Carson top for it.
Gonna get rid of the Carson top. But yeah, I'm gonna finish it.
Cool.
Started it 8 years ago.
Yeah.
8?
And it got paused for life stuff that we're not going to bring up, but you got that car, so that's cool.
Yeah. And I'm like, whoa, we're gonna have to redo that. Whoa.
Yeah, because now you see different things, and you've learned stuff since.
Yeah.
Like we were talking, I can't sell that car because what I did here is like that.
And I was like, yeah, I got this. It's gonna be great.
So
I'm excited.
I'm going to make a very honorable attempt at building a hot rod.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm building a hot rod, like a real traditional,
Fenderless,
all the way
something
hot rod. Yeah.
30s car, 20s car, or something cool.
Yeah, Model A or something.
Cool.
Yeah. That'll be good.
I want
for
to do
me.
a 32. So, I have some customs, but I have a chassis for a 32 sitting there. Original, really, like I have a little roadster.
There could be a custom.
Do you want to do a high boy or?
Yeah, I like Fender 32s, but in my mind, just because I know the time and the money that I have, I'd even take a fiberglass 32 body that somebody wants. I see it I have a really cool 327 sitting on the engine stand that needs rebuilt with 6.2s intake and some Cal Custom valve covers. I know I'll probably just cap off and run 2 of the 2s on there, Stromberg's. Red oxide primer, chrome reverse wheels, and white walls.
Okay.
But a top, because I think the sun's trying to kill me. We go to the beach. I sit in the shade and read car magazine. She goes out and tries to almost get eaten by sharks. That really happened.
Technically, the sun is killing you. But.
It is, but, I have ideas. I have artwork for a car that we almost built for a guy for the America's Most Beautiful Roadster, 32 Roadster. But, I would love a little 32, just, I'm going to run the Napa. It's my daily.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great.
Like marine vinyl, so if it gets wet, it's kind of okay.
Yeah.
Put a drain plug in the floor was always my uncle's joke with a Roadster. If it fills with water, he just pop the drain plug. But Yeah, I'd love a little red oxide. My dad always, before he finished his cars, they were always red oxide primer, red oxide, chrome reverse, white walls.
Nice.
Challenge.
And probably automatic. I had my Chevelle daily in the summer was a stick. I'm kind of over shifting anymore. I like automatics. And if you go to sell it, it's easier to sell an automatic. But hot rod, they like sticks.
Yeah.
But I just like to build something like that. I sat in a Roadster 32 at the Cruise Inn last Saturday at Mike Wolf's place. So I was like, oh.
Get the bug.
And I was telling her, I was like, I'm taller than him, so I need to do this to the pedals. I need to do this to the seats just to make me fit in the car and lower it a little bit more, the seat frame. And I was like, building into my head of what I would change other than Jimmy's car, but he's also about 7 inches shorter than me, maybe 6. So
yeah,
I love a little fenderless traditional Roadster.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I am not a flathead guy. I love flatheads as long as there's somebody else's. I love the sound of a built flathead, but I'll take a small block Chevy over a flathead any day. Yeah, they're not quite as cool, but if you put the right speed parts on it, it's hard to beat a small block Chevy to me. I just really like them. So I don't need a Hemi in it. I don't need an LS in it. I just little 283, 327 stock, cool intake. Yeah, I'd be happy. Until I have an idea for the next something.
I'm gonna hold you on to this. I'm gonna remember this.
Coupe or sedan or Roadster?
It's gonna be on the interweb, so it's out there. It's official.
Yeah.
Coupe.
Little coupe.
Cool. I like 32 5 windows. I like Model A's. 5 window Model A, something like that.
Model A's are a little more affordable than
that's the thing with me. Is I like that lower entry point.
See, I don't know. I like a Model A Roadster on deuce rails too. I would do one of those, but I'm weird. I still like a Model A with a Model A shell. I mean, I understand why people put a 32, but I like a 27, 28, the curved cowl Roadster with the right squared off grill shell. I love that. I love that look too.
Yeah, I don't even think it needs 32 rails. I mean,
I just kind of. I have 32.
I
have a 32 frame, so yeah.
No, but I like them.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, Model A, you just roll it,
Yeah. Cool.
All right, you ready to wrap this up? Because I can't. The computer's too far away. I can't even see how long we've been talking.
Still playing.
We have been talking for right at 2 hours.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah, hour 58.
I'm starting to itch again, so I'm like, my stuff is.
Carrie did yard work for those at home, and
she's got some poison ivy.
She's got something that I think I should make her sleep in the backyard. I don't know what's going on with her.
She's become a part of the plants.
Yeah, that's why she doesn't do yard
Actually,
work.
I think it looks better than it did earlier.
Yeah,
it does look better.
It does look better. I'm sure.
Or whatever this stuff was.
It's very itchy. Yeah,
it's very itchy.
I hope it goes away.
It will.
I know.
It's just gonna take a while, but it's poison ivy. Get that pink stuff. I remember, like when you had chicken pox.
Just the callow, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
So anything you need to say to wrap up? Thank anybody?
I'm gonna thank you.
For coming.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was great. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Now we know where you're at. Remember, I'm chasing parts in Nashville.
Yeah.
Yep.
Come on by.
Yeah. It's not your turn to visit us.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, we do need to do that.
My shop is nothing what you would expect. Like my buddy came, bought a trailer. They showed up at the shop before. I think we talked about this before we recorded. And they go, "Are you guys messing with us? We're at some old abandoned building because it's not painted. There's no sign."
I like that.
You're in the right place.
Yeah.
We'll be there in a minute.
People they kind of know what I'm doing there, but they kind of just leave me alone in that time.
Well,
It's a little
that's
bit,
nice. And you have your privacy. You can just jam out.
Yeah.
People don't really bother us here.
Well, cool.
Cool.
Thank you guys.
So the shop used to be called Murpho's, and it's now called Nashspeed.
Nashspeed.
Tell everybody where they can find you on social media.
Nashspeed on Instagram and Facebook, and we even have a TikTok. Oh my god!
Yeah, our TikTok's doing good.
Wow, I was like,
I can't do. I look at TikTok.
I don't know how to really navigate. So if anybody has a feel on my videos, but I did a TikTok, and I was like, okay, all right, yeah.
She did a TikTok of my mom or my dad and his sister with a southern accent talking about boiled peanuts. Sounds like Aunt Jessie says bald penis. It went viral, 1.3 million views. It was on a New York City morning show. It got licensed, and it made ridiculousness on MTV.
Nice.
And she gets like a $200 check every once in a while.
Hey,
Yeah, but it was like the stupidest little thing. It was like
I don't know.
her saying, made you guys bald penis? But it's called, my dad's just
It was
like,
more of like your
what?
dad's face expression and then the way
But
she started
And then she
cackling.
and it was just like, it was just funny. Just this
Yeah.
little,
Oh,
went
this
viral,
is one-
went nuts.
You
But
just-
like, I have friends that put other car stuff on there, and I just can't stand the comments because, I mean, you want to bring the hot rods and customs to a new crowd, but some people are just stupid. I'm sorry. They're just haters
But
online.
you're gonna have.
Oh, yeah.
listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like, I got a buddy that he does all this stuff, and I think that's his entertainment. He loves the haters. And he
Well,
fires
yeah.
them.
some people
Did a
love
Bonneville
that.
car and like
Yeah.
details on this Bonneville car.
Like,
Oh, that'll never work. And I'm an
Like,
aircraft
oh, yeah.
mechanic. I was like, he's like, well, they've been doing that since the '60s on this hub, and that's what they do. And
Yeah.
he's ran almost 200 mile an hour in his car since, and it's like, I have one burnout video on a C10 on my TikTok, and my TikTok feed is animals and comedians and barbecue guys because we're on the carnivore diet. So that's versus like what my feed is. It's like, you start watching videos and you search, then it keeps coming up.
That's what
So
I'm saying. It's listening.
Yeah.
It's in the cloud.
comedians, and food, and my favorite right now though is the AI Bigfoot and Abominable Snowman. Like they've got them talking. Like,
I've seen the bear.
oh my god, it's hilarious.
But now I've seen the little babies, like the Judge Judy baby.
I haven't seen that yet,
It's
but yeah, the AI, it's fun. It's the Bigfoot's hilarious.
Okay, let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go.
So we want to thank you all for listening to another episode of the Strange Motion Way podcast. I've been Tim Strange, along with
Carrie Strange.
and
Murpho.
And Collette.
so tune in for another episode next week.
The Strange Motion Way podcast, brought to you by
Royal Purple premium synthetic motor oils and high performance chemicals have been designed to improve performance, provide long-term protection, and give you the confidence to push your vehicle to the limit. Royal Purple premium synthetic motor oils.
Hey welders, ready to upgrade your gear and save some serious dough in the process? The Miller Build with Blue savings and rebate program has you covered. Find amazing deals and cashback rebates on a wide range of Miller products, from welders to plasma cutters and everything in between, all backed by our 3-year warranty. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Take advantage of the Miller Build with Blue program now. Visit us online or stop by your nearest Miller distributor today to start saving.